Oh, hi. We're back from lunch. Are you ready? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I've switched a chair. I mean, the other chair's back there. We're getting ready. We're getting ready. They are back. So we're going to go ahead and screen share and watch the afternoon session of the trial. Let's go, guys.
Do we have any kind of
with the exhibits, I spoke with Mr. Adams, and we agreed to exchange physical copies at 2. That was the suggestion, and so we're gonna do that. I did have an opportunity to speak preliminarily with some of the attorneys about the other matters,
okay?
and so those are we're working on those.
Good.
And Miss Knight is headed over with the last page of the exhibits that we have, and we're going to exchange the two, and we can continue to compare.
Okay. All right. So if we're not quite ready to go through that, which it doesn't really make much sense to do before y'all have had a chance to see what you are on the same page about, then do we want to maybe keep going through the wiretap evidence, or because y'all were going to also get together on some of the Mr. Ryan evidence, so I'll give y'all a chance to do that as well.
Right. I've only done part of that.
Yeah, no, I know, and I mean, I was going to give you some. I know that we're having this unexpected non-jury day, so I don't expect y'all to have already accomplished all of that, but I don't want us to just waste time since we're here already. So one thing we can
Sammy, all by herself.
do is just skip over that one issue that you asked for a little more time on, and but you also haven't really had time to narrow down what else you think is on here. Okay, so what do we still need to look at that is not this either, but that is evidence? I didn't think about that.
I'll let them respond.
I'm listening. When you said not this either, oh, sorry. So the list of all of the various parts of the wiretaps that the state wanted to introduce. Remember yesterday I encouraged them to further narrow that down, and obviously they haven't had a chance to do that yet either. So I don't want us to go over things that we might not ultimately need to be discussing.
I'm just putting this on the radar. I don't have any anticipation that the state is ready to do this today, but I'm just, for my periodic reminder, there's issues with my client's cell phone was extracted, and there's issues with any texts or any information extracted from my client's cell phone. That was in 2022, so that's involving the Shamal drinks case. I brought that up a couple of times, and the state said that they're going to identify those items. They haven't yet. I'm not complaining. I'm just trying to replace that on the radar for some later time.
Okay.
And Your Honor, I just want to make certain it's just the identification. There's not like a suppression or anything motion on the
You just want to know what all they're going to use.
I did move to suppress the search of my client's phone, but that was denied by Judge Glanville. So, there's just a lot on my client's phone that has nothing to do with this case. There's bad character stuff.
Well, I would hope if it has nothing to do with the case that the state doesn't intend to use it, but
from my perspective, it has nothing to do with the case. I'll put it like that. And so at some point, anything that the state plans to use as far as text messages, things of that nature, that needs to be litigated.
all right, when can the state do that?
I think that in the same way we're doing with Mr. Ryan, we can schedule, Mr. Sharp and I can talk about when he's available, and we can actually go through it whenever, like this weekend.
I'm trying to buff Miss Love's offer to sit down with her, but it would just be.
It doesn't have to be
helpful.
me, just somebody
Well,
who's
it's not
skillful.
you, it's just, if the state could just identify what they plan on using, and then I could look at their list and then figure out.
Okay, so
Thoughts on
can you get,
About Miss Love personally, it's just sitting down with anyone going through my client's phone. I just think if they go through it and figure out what they want to use and let me know, then.
and then you can maybe, okay. Sort of like y'all done with some of the other things. So if you can, when can you provide to Mr. Sharp the proposed list, I guess?
We need at least to try and whittle it down. We need at least through next week. So no sooner
All
with.
right. So by next Friday, you could do that?
Can we have until the next Monday?
By the following Monday,
Yes,
the 23rd?
yes.
Okay.
That's fine. And these are probably when I think about it, the sequence of charged acts, these are at the very end. So if we're going
Well,
sequentially.
I mean,
would
that's
assume-
fine, but
Yeah, I'm
we
just-
still have to do it at some point, and so probably the sooner they can get it done and get it to you, and you can, y'all can maybe agree to certain things, maybe not, I don't know, but then we will have it available to litigate whenever we do have another non-jury day. So
Absolutely.
thanks for getting that put on the list. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
What else are we gonna still need to look at? What other kind of buckets of evidence that we haven't discussed yet?
Got the wiretap. Phones.
She's thinking.
I'm thinking, Judge.
Okay. And I mean, one thing we had done at some point, and I don't know if we got all the way through it, but the state had provided everybody with this order of proof and exhibits. Did we get all the way through that? Because that might help trigger, oh, this is something we're gonna need to litigate. If y'all got those available, maybe we could look a little bit further through those.
I can get a copy and just for the court's awareness, we just got those printouts that I'm going to exchange with Mr. Adams. If we can be allowed to, the exhibit list printouts that I referenced
Okay.
earlier.
Y'all hit the reminder to hit the like button on your way in for today's afternoon session.
Yeah, I don't think we'd gone all the way through this.
Angie, where is RICO? Where is it? So I think that woman in the white hair. We've been wondering about her. I think she works for Steele's Fur. I think she works on Young Thug's team. Angela working that second job. Donde, Montreux, donde? While they're going over that, shout out to Katrina with the £2. She says prayer for this lady on the stand. So sad. Yeah, that was sad. Shout out to Chi-Town gifting 10 memberships, not just 5. She did it. He or she did it again. It's 10. You got a membership from Chi-Town. Say thank you. Shout out to Mango Gelato with the 5. This hi AV YSL Luna, please. Yeah, I just walked by her. She's sleeping in the hall. But y'all know Luna. She's gonna bust in the next few hours. I don't know how she does it. Oh my God, somebody sent me the cutest dog picture with I did these crimes. I was so excited. I'm happy y'all are getting the merch. Donde, sunflower? Donde, Rico? Where is Rico? We'll zoom in on Doug. Tengo el gato los pantalones. Thank y'all for getting the likes up slightly. Small group in this afternoon session. So the jury is not in session, or the jury's not in the courtroom right now. For this afternoon session, we are going to be focusing on some of the administrative things, kind of like yesterday. The jury was there this morning, but they got dismissed at like 11. Yeah, they went on a 3-hour recess this morning. So if y'all didn't catch that, Shard was asking about his client's phone, because you just need the necessary things when you're doing an evidentiary search on a phone. There's going to be a lot of things that aren't necessary.
Y'all aren't actually doing the comparison right now, are you? Okay. Are y'all going to be finished with whatever it is you are doing soon? Okay. Okay.
Nika.
So if everybody has access to that list that the state had provided a while ago with their kind of a chart of the witness testimony and exhibits, I don't think we went all the way through it, and that might help everybody to think about if there are other types of evidence that we're going to need to still handle kind of motions in limine on. I know we'd gotten through at least proposed witness 24, maybe 26. But I don't know if we'd gotten much further than that. So if we're on page 6 at the top with Turner, I would assume y'all have seen all the crime scene photos. Do y'all know, do you, the state, know which ones you're intending to use?
So page 6.
I mean, have y'all gotten together on things like that? Like, okay, here are the 25 or 10 or whatever crime scene photos that are going to be used with crime scene tech Turner and.
I don't believe that our team has gotten with the defense on those.
Okay.
There is we have been, and we advised them that we have been told since 2022, I think, that there was a set of photos from Adele Avenue that we didn't have. They said it was lost in the hack. We have been persistent, and Mr. Brown has somehow or another gotten somebody to put their hands on a flash drive that has photos in it that he received this morning from APD. We have the emails from between all of us requesting that they go find some physical copies. We brought this to the coordinator's attention several weeks, maybe a couple of months back, that we didn't have them. They said they didn't have them, and they did. But we just kept asking, and somehow somebody found a flash drive. I mean,
happens.
I can't make it up, but
You guys want to hear something crazy? Sorry, it's muted for a second. I just got an email from YouTube, and without my consent, they removed this morning's live stream. And it's for good reason. Like, I can't control that. So firstly, I want to apologize to you guys if you contributed to that stream. I cannot control that. I'm going to write them back right now. They are saying that they removed it. And I just went to go see what they had an issue with. They removed it, and it's rightfully so, but I hope that they do this to everybody streaming this right now and not just me. Remember, we were listening to the 911 phone calls, and a lot of you guys were thinking this. You said it, not me. Apparently, one of those addresses were leaked. And you guys kept saying that, like, why are they doxing people? Why is the state showing people's addresses, right? So apparently, I don't know if it was a phone call or an address or whatever the case may be. It does say cyberbullying, and it's a violation of YouTube's policy. So it says that the content shared, it threatened to share, or encourages others to share non-public, personally identifiable information that isn't allowed on YouTube. How that is my fault when we're watching a nationally televised trial is beyond me. So I'm definitely going to appeal that. Again, what do you want me to do? Take it down and wait until the state is not showing that on nationally televised TV? I mean, okay. So I'm just letting you guys know. But it does include an individual's home address, email address, their phone number, medical records, bank account information, blah, blah, blah. I hope that none of y'all called the person, but hopefully it didn't come from this channel, but they just took the content down without me having a choice. So I'm just letting y'all know what's going on. So if you were watching that this morning and you cannot see it, that's what happened. So hopefully, this doesn't happen to other creators, but I am going to contact them. I work very closely with there's actually like a group of people I've been learning YouTube from that isn't lead, right? I work with a few other people that have direct contacts at YouTube. So I will absolutely be reaching out to my resources and handling this the best way forward. But I didn't do it. I mean, we're watching. If that's the case, everybody's session from the morning needs to be removed. But at the same time, think about that. Did the state think about the fact that they do need to show that it is a nationally televised trial? Maybe they need to block those portions out. So when you do show it on national media, that phone numbers aren't included. So anyway, whatever, I'm going to write an email. Matter of fact, I should have ChatGPT write the email, but I will personally write it and appeal it because it's not the first time something like this has happened with this trial. There was one day I got a copyright claim on a video we did because the court decided to play a song. So the owner of that song went and, did all these copyright claims. And it's like, okay, but you realize that this is a trial. So I can't mute that. There's nothing I can do about that. If we're watching it, it was unexpected that the song was going to play. Yeah, I can clip it. But are you going to take the whole stream? Like for them to take the whole stream down? This is the first time this has happened to me. And I don't know what the other creators are doing, but I'm going to email Kat now too. So that way, if she streamed it, we know. Thank you, Legally Shay. Like everyone, Law and Crime, Atlanta News First, everyone. But at the same time, think about it. What if that was you and all you did as a concerned citizen was call the police when something was happening and you still have the same phone number? Now everybody has your phone number. So I can understand, I certainly do. But at the same time, it's like, is it my fault? No. So the shenanigans. Thank you, Michelle, for telling Kat. But thank you. Thank you so much. Because I think that is absurd. And you guys know, like this trial has a lot of attention right now. But that I don't think is any creator's fault. That is the state. So thank you, Miss Love. We appreciate you guys making mistakes over here.
He has them, and I don't know that he's sent copies of them, but we can have copies brought over. That's just a matter that since we're in the middle of that, I think they need to have and see.
Okay.
And so we'll bring that over as well if it's not already been sent over via a link. It may have been sent over via a Dropbox link.
Okay.
But we've not yet gone over the individual pictures and told the defense which ones we will and will not use. I can get the prosecutor who will be Mr. Brown. I can get him over here and we can have a conversation with a member of the defense, just one, so they can share that because he's already taken those out and just made that decision.
Can you have a member of your team go ahead and reach out to him, and can he maybe come over today?
Yes, and yes.
Okay. And we honestly may not have gone witness by witness up to page 6. So if you look back and see something on the first 5 pages that we haven't covered yet that y'all feel needs to get litigated, let me know. Or if you don't yet know kind of more specifically what that evidence is going to be and need to, let me know.
Okay. I'm reviewing that now.
And for all of the photos, like with Miss Bell today, you introduced, I think, 4, but you only used 1. I mean, to the extent, you can continue that sort of thing where it's not cumulative, then that's fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you. There is one witness whose attorney, I'll just apprise the court and counsel that may be coming up. Mr. Arnold, I've been in touch with his Miss Merchant, and so that I see that on the list of might sprinkle exhibits if it's necessary for impeachment.
Can y'all hear her?
I'm sorry. I've just been in touch with one of the co-defendants' attorneys. I see his interview on Mr. Sprinkle's list of exhibits if it's necessary to use, because I've been talking with her about him coming up relatively soon. I have not gone over his interview. I don't think we've gone over his interview at all, but it would only be used for impeachment purposes in any event. But if that's something that I'll have to discuss with the defense in terms of things that they believe that are, impermissible and admissible, but that's something that's on the radar.
Okay.
So can I inquire? And I believe I'm looking at the same document as everyone else. For number 8, Michael Sprinkle, it says jail calls, pictures of infinity, social media, and interviews. When we're saying interviews, Mr. DA Sprinkle is kind of a unique witness in this case because he's a DA, but he also, I think it's fair to say, he fulfilled a certain investigatory role mid-investigation. However, he wasn't sitting when it says interviews.
Let's get some clarification on that. Are these interviews that Mr. Sprinkle conducted of people, or what are these?
Yes, and it's also detailed in the report that we provided that he gave that 146 page report. So there are interviews that law enforcement conducted in 2015 and 16 that he would not have been a part of as a result of further investigation that he did. He would have gone out to speak with some of those same witnesses again. And those are the only ones that he would be speaking to.
Okay, so the state
Interviews that he was in, like it says 2017, like for impeachment if
I don't
necessary.
see a 20. Are y'all looking at a different?
That's what I'm wondering, because I don't see specific, it just says interviews.
I don't see a date or anything.
Okay.
Maybe if you've got a more detailed exhibit and witness list by now, maybe share that with us.
I do. It has some notes. on
Okay.
here, so, but I will say it out loud if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. So ours just says jail calls, pictures of infinity, interviews, social media. It doesn't specify.
Thank you. And I thank Mr. Shard as well for that, bringing that to my attention. So the Quindarius Zachary 2017 interview, if necessary, the Martinez Arnold 2017 interview.
Okay, so my concern was simply this. We are on the same page that he's not going to be commenting on interviews that he simply reviewed to bring himself up to speed before beginning his work.
It doesn't sound like it.
Okay.
These are interviews that he
Yes.
was a part of.
Right.
Okay. So maybe interview, maybe not the,
He conducted it. If he was a part of it, then for impeachment purposes, he would be the one that would be impeaching the witness if necessary.
And it would
Okay.
be only for witnesses that have already testified in
correct.
consistent-
Yeah, yes, Your
Okay,
Honor.
so, yeah, so he's actually a little bit out of order. Well, no, I guess not. I don't know. So Arnold, Zachary, and whom else?
We have Kenya Morton, if we call her. She has been listed as an alibi witness for Mr.
Okay.
Kendrick, so we may just let him put her up, but we haven't, she's on here, so we can still discuss items within that interview that may need to be dealt with or redacted. So that's 3.
All right, so yes, so these would be only after they testify and for impeachment. If
Absolutely.
you don't just use the interviews to impeach them while they're on the stand.
Right.
Okay. And then, do we know whose jail calls?
We have Mr. Arnold's, Mr. Bradford's, Mr. Stillwell's, Mr. Sledge's. I think we have dealt with the ones from Mr. Sledge while he was. We dealt with the one I think that we were dealing with Mr. Sledge. And in Mr. Sprinkle's report, he referenced specific ones as it relate to Mr. Arnold, Bradford, and Stillwell. But what we'll do is go through those. That's another conversation we have to have and inform counsel for defendants, specifically those jail calls as well. So right now, what I'm looking at that we need to do from Mr. Sprinkle is go over the 3 interviews that potentially he could testify about if necessary, and just deal with any items that maybe need to be addressed, redacted, dealt with, and the jail calls from Mr. Arnold, Bradford, and Stillwell. I think we also had social media.
Sorry, y'all, just a quick update. So I just appealed the decision. But yeah, they're saying that it was a violation of community guidelines. And I don't know, because I was looking at the exact second that they were complaining about. Yes, the court displayed personally identifiable information. But the other thing that they are mentioning is because it says cyberbullying, but the clause and the policy that they put goes to information that's related to what's it called, like personally identifiable, information. I'm like, which one is it? Because even if we want to improve as a team, we need to understand which one you're saying. Because even with that, I don't know if it is, because they're saying that they have humans that review content and they decide to take it down or automatically take it down. In addition, they also have bots that do that. So that's why I'm just asking for clarity. Like, is it that, we were commenting on the green suit? Because in that same moment, I had not a super chat, I had one of y'all's comments up that talked about the lima green suit, and I was laughing. And I'm like, are you saying that that was cyberbullying, or are you guys upset with the personal information that was displayed on screen that I cannot control? Because if that's the case, then, we could have absolutely skipped through that. And if that's the case, then that's my bad, but I need them to tell me how to move forward, so we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted on that.
Media pics, but I think we got Mr. Bradford's social media pics in through Mr. Copeland. And we also got the social media pictures regarding Mr. Kendrick in already through one of the witnesses that have already testified. So outside of that, and I think we also got the post with Mr. Garlington and Mr. Williams with the "we're not going back and forth" in already. Those are the.
So there's no social media left that he'd be talking about then. Okay, so we can cross that one off. Okay. So going back then to page 1 with Mr. Zachary, have we dealt with everything we need to deal with for him? Social media, jail calls, and interview?
Let me check our bucket that we've provided. Hold on.
I can answer for the interviews. We have reviewed the interviews on the cursory level for bad character, those sorts of things. Now, my stance is that those out-of-court statements should not be played unless there's a proper foundation. So, of course, we still have that issue, and that won't be resolved until we hear what Mr. Zachary's testimony is. But we have reviewed those statements.
I thought
for
so.
the other stuff.
And jail calls and social media, yes or no?
Interview on the 2017, March, I believe, 3rd, 2017 interview of Mr. Zachary. There was one part that the Honorable Court, I think, redacted that I would like you to reevaluate if it becomes necessary. I understand it's all premature, but there's one section on one page that I would like to, I plan on, if it's ripe, cross-examining Mr. Zachary on and then impeaching him if he says something different.
Okay.
I could give you a page
Do
if
you
you
know
want.
what day was this that week in August that we had the non-jury week that we would have reviewed that stuff? Okay.
Your Honor, can would the court please allow Mr. Steele to just tell us the statement or generally a summation of which one he's talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure he would do that for us. All right, I see Zachary's social media postings. We went through all of that. Was this wasn't one of these things on these big Zachary these things? No, that's yeah. Okay. So can you direct me a little more specifically now that I've got that in front of me?
Of course. Your Honor, this is the 2017 process.
All right, hang on. The one I've got says 2015. Yeah.
If you need a copy, we can, I'm sure, give you one.
I would have thought I had a copy if we've already been through it. Maybe I just looked at it online. I don't know. Mm. Would this have been in one of the evidence reviewer links, maybe, that the state sent?
This particular interview was not on evidence reviewer.
Okay.
It was they were the MP3s. They were MP3 files and there was an audio. I honestly don't remember us playing the audio of this in court. I think we were mostly working off the transcripts.
Is this, okay. So I've got his August 5th, 2015 interview.
That's the evidence reviewer.
Okay.
one.
And then I've got a list that I think you put together was kind of page and line objections that I
Right.
think was to the 2017 one.
That's the one that
Okay.
Mr. Steele is referring to.
All right. So I ought to have a transcript of it somewhere, but where that is at this point, I'm not quite sure.
Helps. It's a words express transcript. It's not one of the ones that the state produced. The transcripts, there's some look one way, some look the other one. This one is a words express transcript. And it's 262 pages.
All right, well, honestly, instead of me taking time trying to find it in some electronic file, if y'all have got a copy of it that I can borrow, that would work as well. Thank you.
This is the one that's 275 pages. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
just because I know we have multiple.
Thank y'all for verifying that. So it looks like other channels have had their morning streams taken down too. So that's good in a sense, because I'm like, all right, you're saying cyberbullying, but the violation is personal information. So which one is it? Technically, it could kind of be both, because the policy is talking about personal information. So it's likely that one of those 911 callers is trying to, because that is intense, right? But at the same time, if that is the case, because I want to hear my answer from them. If that is the case, then, technically it really isn't our fault. It's the court, so we'll see what happens, but let's keep going.
Transcripts by different transcribers, if they would just, if the court would allow them to just send to the state as well, the one they're referring
Mr.
to.
Howell, can you send it to Miss Love as well when you hit send? Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go. Oof. It's audio.
Yes.
I think this might be the culprit.
Hmm?
I think that the extra microphone on the witness
Might be what's causing it. Okay. And Mr. Howell, did you send it directly to me or through my law clerk?
I did not send it to the
It's-
clerk, I sent it to Max because I didn't have your email.
Okay, that's fine.
I was going to send it to Ms. Percival. I have her, I don't have her email.
That's fine. She's listening in, so. Ms. Percival, when you get it, to just forward it to me.
And I just sent one. I think I found the one, and so I just sent it to everyone as well. So including the court, if that's the right one. They can let me know if it's not the one they're using.
Okay, well, I've got the one that Ms. Love just sent. That's June 14, 2017, and it's word expressed. So I think that's the same transcript.
Should be March 3rd. But hold on, let me see.
That was the date of the transcription.
Date of transcription. Yes. Okay. That. Okay. Anyway, so now that we've got it.
If we could just get that date, that page and lines that Mr. Steele referred to, so that I can go straight to it.
I believe it's, I know it to be page 39, lines 14 through 20. And this honorable court has preliminarily excluded that unless a foundation is laid. And I just wanted to, while we're talking about information, I just wanted to tell you that I was going to seek to lay the foundation. That's yeah.
Your Honor, unless my memory is incorrect, I don't think that this was a foundational issue. I guess the record will most accurately reflect what it was that it was excluded on, but I don't believe that this was an issue about foundation. Line 14 through 20 on page 39.
Well, I mean, if it was a foundational issue and you can lay the foundation, then that takes care of that. Okay. Okay. Ms. Love, do you have a?
I don't have my notes on that hearing that we had that Mr. Steele is referring to, so I don't have at hand the court's ruling or anything that I can make a definitive statement about it on. Not that. I'll have to search through that. I don't have those notes. I'm gonna check with the team.
Your Honor, I reviewed my notes from that day.
Okay.
For page 39.
What day was it? That would help me.
August 6th, 2022.
August 6th. Okay.
Court has to take sort out the argument.
Say it again. Pick up the mic and say it.
Court has to state, sort out their argument on this and get back to the court.
Ah, well, there we go.
We may be on the same page. At the time, I was trying to figure out what was based on personal knowledge versus hearsay, and the state was arguing either personal knowledge or statements of a co-conspirator. So at the time, on August 6th, the state was seeking to admit this evidence. And so that's why they were supposed to circle back. But now as trials progressed, Mr. Steele is saying he wants to use it. So that's why the state was supposed to get back.
Okay. Does that ring a bell, Ms. Love?
A small one. I'm just going through our notes on that.
Okay.
Details that you can put this date and see on the spread. No, I didn't bring the, and you ain't gonna put them in there. Yeah, some different. I'm not gonna let you put this in here. Yeah, make it hotter. Yeah, turn it around. I think I just can't turn it off. You just, oh, you want to keep it on, right? Maybe just hold on. Just let it go.
I don't know what the holdup is here.
Give me some of that.
Doug is like he's making a song in his mind. Shout out to Doug.
They thick. It's a tripper.
Well, does the state still think they want that in? And if not, if the defense gets it in, do you have an issue with that or?
I'm reading just the area before it and the area right after it
right.
because I just want to make sure that we don't have an issue with it.
Okay.
And Your Honor, it's also going to some extent, rely on what else was kept out and what was kept in. So that's the reason I'm just searching through that portion.
I know she said she was reading, but it does appear that she's typing. So maybe somebody's helping. Not much for those that are coming in. The jury's not in the building, so we're going through administrative stuff right now. Also, YouTube took down our morning stream, so that was fun. That's the day in the nutshell.
Can you get some more detail? Because I know she kept it. I'm seeing it.
Ms. Love is just looking at something right now, guys, before we could talk about it. Yeah, I think I can read a few super chats while she's doing her thing. Shout out to Giddy with a 2. Giddy says, sorry, I missed why the jury got sent home. I believe one of them isn't feeling well. That's why they got sent home for the day. Shout out to Enrique with the 2, says, my nickname is Rico. We need a Where is Rico t-shirt for the merch line. That would be cool. Rashid says, they're trying to Rico me too now, guys. I guess I'm getting indicted. Oh, no. Shout out to Leah who gifted, or Lee, sorry, Lee. It's been a day, Lee. Lee gifted 5 AV memberships. Thank you so much, Lee. If you received one, say thank you. Shout out to Red Bunny Classic with the 5, said Love and Hilton ain't thinking that far ahead. Team Fanny be out here doxing folks. Yeah, and if you're coming in, guys, I think that's why they took the stream down, but it's still kind of unclear. I just looked myself and other people's morning sessions haven't been removed. So it still could be, it could very possibly be a hit on this channel. But basically they said there was a moment, I went and looked at it. It's either, I laughed at someone saying that Simone had on a green blazer. I laughed, I had that comment pulled up and I was laughing. That's the moment they're complaining about. So the title of the email said cyberbullying. And then the description or the policy was talking about sharing information.
Your Honor, as to
she can wait, but the thing is, we were listening to a 911 call and it was showing on the screen the 911 CAD report, right? So we had one of the 911 people on the stand this morning, and then there was a woman that was a second witness for the morning, and she had, I believe, been shot. And so DA Love had a direct examination with her with no cross-examination. And then the witness before that was the 911 person. Now, with the 911 person, Atkins had her on direct examination. And with that direct examination, he had her go through several, I think it was about 5 911 reports that included personal information of the people that made the call. So either their phone numbers, their contact information, their addresses and things like that. So the policy said that the live this morning violated that because personal information was shown, but the title of it said cyberbullying. So I'm trying to figure out myself, is YouTube upset at the fact that we laughed at somebody wearing a green suit? Or are they upset because of the policy, the private information that Atlanta News First showed, right? That many people are streaming, but all those other channels, they're their streams are still up. So I don't know what's going on, but that is what happened.
Page 39, lines 14 and 20, they hearken back to page 38, lines 11. The context of that, I think, at the very least, starts on page 38 at line 11. And in that, the soon-to-be-called witness is informing the detectives about someone's opinion regarding who shot up a certain location. And that is listed on page 38, lines 11 through 12. All of that is speculation and the witness sharing with detectives what somebody else thought happened. And so as you get to lines 21 through 24 on page 38, when asked explicitly whether that happened, the witness says, I don't know. So as we get further down, the witness is then asked, have you heard who may have done that? And the witness says he was locked up with the boy that was charged with it. And then ADA Sprinkle says, yeah, but I mean, do you think he did? Did he tell you that he did? The witness says, no, he said he didn't do it because the witness's cousin was supposed to make a statement on it or something, but it was the wrong girl. He said he didn't do it though. And then they get into, let's talk about, who shot Kelvin Watts in Mechanicsville?
Right, and I think that's the part that Mr. Steele was saying, if he can lay the foundation, he wants to get into, right, Mr. Steele?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Ms. Love.
Okay, I remember this argument. So if there's no objection from anybody else, I don't think that we have one to
Okay, well, Mr. Steele, do you think that, is your plan to kind of ask some foundational questions to figure it out? Or do you think that it's already enough here in this transcript?
I think it may be enough, but I will ask foundational questions.
Okay. I mean, it seems
If
like,
needed, I'll ask him first, about it. And I
Okay.
won't use the transcript. And then if he says something different, I'll say, did you say this? But I'll lay a foundation
Okay,
before
I
I
mean,
ask him the
that's-
first question.
And Your Honor, I obviously, if it's established that he has a basis for knowledge that does not consist of what somebody else might have said some other time that we don't know about, and he doesn't have personal knowledge of it, if it's not that situation, but he does have a basis for it, unless there's some other valid objection, then there's nothing that I can, complain about right now.
Okay. All right.
If there's an objection, we'll make it at the time, but I don't see anything right now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so back to Mr. Zachary. The interview would only be for impeachment, and have we gone through all of his social media and jail calls that might get utilized?
I thought we had gone through his
I mean, I thought we had to
social media,
just check him.
very least.
I mean, it looks to me like we definitely went through his social media postings and made the evidentiary determinations about that. But I don't know if we did jail calls or not.
I don't recall going through any jail calls.
Okay, so are there jail calls that you might intend to utilize? Isn't he coming up pretty soon? Potentially,
Potentially. Yes.
okay.
And so I think that any of Zachary's jail calls would only be used to impeach Zachary if we needed to use Zachary's jail calls.
All right.
So right now,
Okay, so that would just be, if it happens to come up, we'll just roll with it at the time, I guess. Unless obviously if you know of something that you think is going to be an issue,
right.
then just kind of alert us outside the jury's presence.
I
But
can-
otherwise, that'll just be a trial issue. Okay. And then the next witness on this sheet is Detective Thorpe. And I think y'all were gonna get together on the part of Mr. Kendrick's interview that might come in on redacting it for any potential Bruton issues. Did y'all get a chance to do that yet?
What my memory is, Your Honor, was that I know I said that I would be asking Detective Thorpe questions rather than trying to play all of that. And there were maybe portions where Mr. Kendrick talked about where he was on January 10th.
Okay, yeah,
2015,
no,
that
I'm looking
part I
now.
would
We
let-
did. Okay, so we just went through what was okay and what wasn't. Okay. All right, so there aren't any outstanding issues then for him.
There was one thing, and I don't think that it's on here, but we were trying to put our finger on it within our team because we had identified a call between Mr. Kendrick and Miss Morton, where Mr. Kendrick, from our listening of it, seemed to be essentially trying to establish an alibi. And it seemed, I'll be clear, he said, I was with you. I was with you. And she says something to the effect of, yeah, you were with me. You were with me.
Mhm.
And I wanted to put Mr. Weinstein and his team on notice. He's not here. So, but Mr.
Well,
Howell,
yeah.
Mr. Howell
And his team.
and his team on notice that there is that call that is in the calls that were served in 2022, but we are wanting to identify the exact date and time to extract the MP4 so that they have it. But
All right.
We have it identified. It's just locating it in the large bucket of calls, but that is one that we know that we will end up playing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Now, after this crazy day and my attack, can y'all please hit the like button for me? Just a friendly reminder.
Okay.
And we're guarding the custodian of records. I know that we've probably beaten this horse, but there's still no stipulation regarding those. Nobody wants to stipulate as to, okay.
Doesn't sound like it. If anybody reconsiders on that front, please let the state know. All right, so with Mr. Sprinkle, with the jail calls for Arnold, Bradford, Stillwell. The defense has them all, right?
Yes, and I believe that they're in the bucket of exhibits that we provided to them. I'm confirming that.
Mr. Sprinkle works for the DA's office, I believe.
Yes, sir.
While on the subject of jail calls, I know we went away from this topic, but the state mentioned Quindarius Zachary jail calls. From my recollection in the discovery, I don't believe we've ever been served Quindarius Zachary jail calls. I do know, I'm more certain that the state has never identified any sort of group of calls that maybe they may be interested in bringing into this case. So if there are some calls, if we haven't been served them, which I don't believe we have, I would ask that they be excluded. But if there are some calls into discovery, I would just ask that they're identified before, like, right when the state wants to bring them in, because we're going to have to review them. I know that Your Honor said, when that comes up, we'll get to it and we'll discuss it. I just don't want to be in a situation where I'm hearing about a jail call of Mr. Zachary's for the first time in court. And then
Well,
having it-
certainly if y'all don't have them, then that's an issue, but let's find that out.
All of the jail calls have been served. Everything, all of our jail calls for especially Mr. Zachary, which would have been those that we had around 2015. And I'll go look and point to specific things, but again, I have not identified any particular cause of his that we intend to use, and we wouldn't be introducing anything except for impeachment purposes. And his statements, the summaries of his interviews and transcripts of his interviews have all been provided. Obviously, people get on the stand and their memories, stuff happens with them. So.
Okay, so do you happen to know like what tranche of discovery it would have been?
Judge, what I was doing at the moment Mr. Sharp asked that question, is I was actually trying to get the answer to
Okay.
the
All right, we'll give you a minute.
calls regarding Mr. Bradford and Mr. Arnold that are listed under Mr. ADA Sprinkle. And those were the January.
Oh, Bradford and Arnold, we got that. I'm talking about Zach.
The court made the inquiry, so I was trying to.
Okay, so through Sprinkle, it would be Arnold, Bradford, and Stillwell, and that's it. Jail calls, potentially.
I believe it would be, those are the ones that we have identified so far. Yes, those are the ones that we intended. There were only, I think, 5. And I paused because I was now looking at okay, there they are. So the January 11, 2015 call between Martinez Arnold and Javaris Bradford. The January 10th, 2015 call of Martinez Arnold at 7:42 p.m., the January 10th, 2015 call at 8:18 p.m., and the January 17th, 2015 call at 7:17 p.m. Those are the ones that we have provided that we intended to introduce through ADA Sprinkle. Now, as to the follow-up question that Mr. Sharp just asked about, and that the court inquired about, the Zachary jail calls were served in they are in July of 2022 under the jail calls folder.
Okay.
July 6, 2022 at 9:16 a.m. So the first discovery service, and it's in the folder called Zachary, Quindarius.
All right. So that ought to help y'all locate it to review or re-review.
Could we just ask, as soon as the state identify, and I understand that they're saying for impeachment at this time, but as soon as they identify what they want to use, that they let us know. So we're not, I just don't want to litigate in court while the jury's here, just like,
The
you know.
court,
And I appreciate that.
the court instructed us to alert the court and counsel outside the presence of the jury if that need arises. The court does have periodic breaks, and we intend to do that without.
I mean, I imagine it would be kind of hard to know before you know how he's going to testify. But is it a large volume of calls?
One moment to look at approximately how many. And to be clear, I know the subjects, I know the questions, generally speaking. I don't have a script of his responses. And so it is almost impossible to, at this point, predict which, if any, would be impeached.
Scrambling and scraping, scraping and scrambling. Thank you guys so much for all the love. I really appreciate it. Thank you for hitting the like button as well. Just a quick update. One of you guys said that Law and Crime, they're trial streaming right now, and they started way before me. I think around like 9 a.m. And it looks like they have cut that first half of the trial. So maybe it wasn't just me, because a lot of people, it's different on so many channels. Some people have been streaming since, 8 a.m. and they didn't take the break, right? There are some others that, have done like a morning session and an afternoon session. And I don't know, maybe I got clipped first, but that makes me feel a little bit better that Law and Crime, they had to clip their part too. So maybe it was that, but let's go back in.
Because as everyone has witnessed, sometimes answers are non-responsive and not true at the same time. So it's just, I'll look through Mr. Zachary's calls to see if there's any one that contains something that's not in a statement or a summary.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so then I think that with regard to Mr. Sprinkle and what evidence would come in through him, we've gone through that. And then we've got cell phone custodians. I think we already talked about Mr. Burney. Which brings us to either Voss or is it Wetzel? Is that how you say that? Weitzel? And I
And
assume,
it wasn't Boss. We had said Vanna Kelly. There was.
right. What
And there-
Kelly?
Right,
Because
and
Voss is the one.
there is one outstanding matter before, I think, at least a week before. I don't have the notes that I had called about. I'm checking now to see if they've been sent recently, but so the court had asked us whether she had provided a separate report.
Right.
And what the GBI told us that we informed counsel for the defendants is that she not just peer reviewed, but she verified the results that Mr. Voss obtained. And her notes were what I requested from the GBI. Normally they're pretty fast, and I'm just checking to make sure that they have not sent them and I just missed it. But I'm going to also follow up.
All
with a
right, so
call.
either, if you do have the email, just send that on, and if not, follow up.
And shout out to Edgar real quick, guys. Edgar's sliding through in from the lovely sunny California. I heard you guys had an earthquake today. So shout out to our West Coast people. Hope you guys are all safe. What does Edgar say? He says, AV and everyone, I miss too much of this Young Thug show lately. So I'm not going to ask what's going on, but where the hell is Hilton? Well, it's so interesting, Edgar. She was here in the morning session before YouTube clipped my morning session. We did see Hilton in the courtroom this morning. She was wearing a very bright green that you guys have called the lima green suit jacket. And we had two witnesses this morning. One was a woman who was, injured. She was shot in the ass. And it wasn't her fault. She was just talking about her recount of the event. So Miss Love was able to direct examine her. And then we had another witness who was a 911 person. So she worked for, I think, APD and handled all the 911 calls. The issue with this morning's stream is the state did not redact that. So there were about 5 911 phone calls. We saw the transcripts that did include the people that called 911, their phone numbers and their addresses and things. So it seems like a privacy concern. I feel good that Law and Crime cut that as well, because they might have gotten in trouble too. But I appealed the decision from YouTube and all of that. So thank you so much, Edgar. I hope you're safe out there in Cali, but that's what you missed so far.
Okay. So that's all that's outstanding for that. Okay, Officer Atha, that doesn't look like anything particularly. You'll just pick which pictures are necessary. Same with Sanders. And Smith, that evidence already came in, right? With Sledge.
Yes, actually,
Okay.
she that video from
Yeah.
that one, the one video did.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we've done Miss Latner's, and Miss Bell. And Pitts is just gonna be testimony.
Pitts' testimony and some of those pictures that we talked about earlier today, that if we've not sent a link over, that we're going to be providing to them. Those are the 1428 ADL Avenue pictures. If the court would indulge, can you confirm? So we have identified 9, I think, out of several from 1428 Adele Avenue that we intend to use.
Okay. With PIPs. Am I understanding you correctly?
Let me confirm.
Okay.
Just one moment.
Yeah, Lou, it should be done. It should have been done a while ago. But they've been just kind of verifying stuff as they go, so to speak. But it is kind of good that the judge is making them do this stuff now. So we're not doing it the day that the next witness testifies. Yeah, God, he looks cold. He's wearing a turtleneck and a hoodie. Sammy, I saw a clip of that. I have not had a chance to text her yet, but it could be her. I did see somebody that had pink hair. I just couldn't zoom in because I was watching it from my phone, but I'll look into that tonight. It might be her. %, Sil. Marie, he is taking a YouTube break for a little while. He'll be back soon. It's crazy that she's doing this on the spot, and you could tell she was unprepared to do that. But it happens. Sometimes the jury's not going to be there, and this is why you got to have the train still.
So, Ms. Love, while we're waiting for your colleague to return, just let me generally say that with all of the crime scene photos, just make sure that you look through and narrow it down to what you need. I know that just as an example and I did find you had given us a more detailed sheet with regard to at least, maybe the first 15 or so of the next witnesses, maybe more, with details about which evidence you were going to use. And I know, like, for one of them, there's like side view of XYZ gun, front view of XYZ gun, other side of XYZ gun, which may be significant for some reason. And of course, if it is, then let's use all of those pictures. But if it's not, and you can use one picture instead of 3, just with the number of witnesses and the amount of evidence we have, if one will do instead of 3, let's do 1.
Yes, Your Honor. And there may be instances where we tender and, this many and publish 2.
Exactly, just like you did with Miss Bell. All right.
Thank you.
And if you are going to tender this many, and especially with the crime scene text, just, hand them the whole stack.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, while we have a minute, can I ask, can we go back to number 23 on page 6? It says
Ye-
Tyrone Dennis.
Yes.
The second check or second box thing says overall investigation of crimes of YSL between January 2015 and December 2015. I don't know what exactly the state means by that. Summary witnesses, my understanding, are frowned upon. Investigator Dennis previously, when Judge Glanville was the judge in this case, there was a easel with pages being flipped where he was listing all these different shootings and saying what was gang related, what wasn't gang related, well, really just what was gang related, and kind of going through a timeline of a bunch of different acts of violence. I don't think at this point, if it's targeted to something, I'd be interested to know what the state is trying to get from Investigator Dennis at this point. But just like another recap of everything that was going on. I mean, we objected the first time, and we still don't believe it was appropriate. But to do that again, it's just we're kind of retreading the same summary of this case, and the jurors, they're smart, they get it, and so I just don't think that would be appropriate.
Okay, well, I'll inquire. I'm sure you're not going to just put him up for a recap of what he's already testified to. What's going to be new?
Your Honor, we're not putting him up through for a recap. What we gave on that sheet of paper was a generalization. If, as for instance, he was allowed to talk about his investigation. He was qualified as a gang expert, and many of the incidents that he investigated, he was able to gain information pertaining to some of the facts that he testified about. Some of the things that he was able to testify about. He also actively, like I said, participated in the investigation. So he, as a fact witness, was able to testify about those things as well.
Mm-hmm.
As the court sees what the court doesn't know or wasn't there when he touched on the fact that after Donovan Thomas's murder, they went back and they saw that there were incidents that occurred that appeared to be act and reaction from certain groups of people. And then after the Donovan Thomas murder, that there were a series of retaliatory shootings. He did not go deep into them. There were incidents that were listed that we are now presenting evidence of. At the time, there were objections to him talking about his investigation into those crimes. We alerted the court. We're going to put up evidence of those crimes. This particular one we did today is one of them.
Right.
So in as much as he gave a broad overview of, what things they saw occur. And that is at this address, there was a shooting. Then there was this shooting at this address. To the extent that there are details that are going to be brought out or that are challenged on cross-examination. Those sorts of things that were not ever talked about before will be talked about with Detective Dennis this go round. This will not be a rehashing, of a summary. that's not necessary. That would be a waste of time. This is going to be information that either he's not testified about or someone challenges another person on cross about. I don't think that at this point we can actually say, hey, this is all the stuff that we're going to talk about. We do know that it's going to encapsulate that area, that span of time that we listed for the defense in the court on that sheet.
Well, Your Honor,
Yes.
let me say this. I'm seeing these 4/28/15 shootings. I'm seeing on the state's list here, they're saying committed by Demekion Garlington, Antonio Sledge, Quindaria Zachary, and Shannon Stillwell. There is no evidence other than Mr. Zachary in his proffer trying to get better sentence saying that Mr. Stillwell was there. There's absolutely no evidence, no phone records, no other witnesses, no ballistics that link to Mr. Stillwell. There is nothing that puts Mr. Stillwell in that case. My concern, and he wasn't charged either.
Okay.
What I don't want is, I don't know what Mr. Zachary, where he is, if we're going to hear from him, if we're not. But what I am going to have a motion if somehow Mr. Stillwell, through investigator Dennis or some other witness that has no firsthand knowledge of anything, starts trying to bring my client into the 4/28/2015 shootings. And from the discovery, the only person that says that is Mr. Zachary when he was, trying to get himself out of trouble. And if Mr. Zachary says that, I will deal with that on cross-examination. But until Mr. Zachary says that, investigator Dennis should not have anything to say about that.
All right.
Your Honor, the state, we are well aware of what the rules of evidence allow and don't allow. We will adhere to those. And as it relates to the evidence that we tender to prove the facts of this case as relates to each of these defendants, we will comply with and follow the rules of evidence. And I think that at this point, to efforts to sort of restrict what someone believes we may do is, at the very least, it would be a waste of time. It would make no sense for us to try and introduce through a witness we intend to put up a statement through someone else, through Detective Dennis, a statement of Zachary before Zachary ever testifies. That's wrong.
All right,
We're not
good.
going to do that.
I mean, that's
So-
good. I don't mind somebody alerting everybody to that as a potential issue. And I appreciate that you say that, of course, you're not going to do anything like that. Okay. Yes.
On that, over objection, retired Detective Dennis did testify as what I'd call a summary witness.
Uh-huh.
But the court needs to know that we never received an expert report for some of these people, not Miss Bell, who just testified, and those reports that we have on that incident on April 28, 2015, that found her to unfortunately, tragically be shot. A lot of what the Detective Dennis previously testified is total confrontation clause. I don't even know who he spoke with. He just spoke with people, interrogated people, interviewed people, people called him up, CIs. I have no idea if there was hope of benefit. And I think that's what Mr. Shart is getting to, because that's already happened. It's over objection, and I don't want it to happen again. And also summary witnesses are not favored. That's United States versus Perry, Perry. And that's 35F 4th. It's at 293. It's in Division 3, 5th Circuit, 2022. Specifically, again, we caution the government not to rely on improper summary witness testimony. So I would also join in that same objection. And I understand it's a pre-objection, but
Okay. Thank you. And actually, I think that Ms. Love had shared with everybody, she had gotten through about, I don't know, it's not numbered, but 7 or so pages. Witnesses at the time, they were 81 through 110 with more detail than what's here of exactly what she thought the evidence was going to be at the time she put it together. And for Detective Dennis, he's on the last page of that, she's got listed the specific evidence that she, at least at the time she was putting it together, thought he was going to be testifying to this time around. And it doesn't, other than the PowerPoint, which has essentially been ruled out, it doesn't look like it's kind of summary testimony. Is that fair, Ms. Love?
Yes, and also I think that as I'm getting updates from team members who are also signed on, that in the Dropbox that I believe that we provided, we have, with even more specificity, photographs of Zachary and Copeland with guns, found at the Dunbar Center and at the Zachary arrest. And I think that this is something that has already been touched on. It's not, the court is correct, in short.
Okay.
We've been more specific.
Okay. Okay, sure. All right, so did you come back with further information? I think we had paused on something and.
We did, okay. So we have from Adele Avenue, there are several photos that we are still narrowing down that we got today. We will provide both all of those photos as well as the ones we intend to tender as evidence. My notes say that they are in the Dropbox link that 88 Atkins shared under CST Turner, but I don't know, my notes don't say that we have or have not sent them over to counsel for defense and to the court. So I'm confirming that. Okay. We have 15 additional photos and a floor plan for 1903 Drew Drive that is being sent over shortly as well. Let me confirm whether that Dropbox link was shared internally or with everyone. Just a moment.
Can't hear you without the mic, I'm sorry.
If they're looking for a recent email, I'm just trying to help. We haven't received anything from the prosecution team.
Okay.
I am being informed that the Dropbox link that everyone has been updated with those items.
Oh, okay. So just, can you tell which Dropbox link it is? Because I know there are several.
the one with the 30 witnesses that has this particular witness on it.
Okay. Okay, great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we were at what is numbered on this order of proof and exhibits list. We were on witness number 21, Officer Pitts, and that's, I think, when we stopped to sort out the issue with the new photographs from Adele Avenue. And so moving on, we just talked to the next page, witness 26, Detective Dennis, we've just talked about. And I had written down from when we talked before, the number 87LL, was that the PowerPoint that we have already dealt with? I don't know.
What is the court's note regarding
87LL or 871L? I should write more detail in my notes.
1 second, Judge.
You know what? It was the PowerPoint. We've dealt with that. So that's fine. Okay. All right. So turning the page, we've got Mr. Arnold, his plea agreement, potential jail calls, and social media. And the jail calls would again only be, y'all are having him testify, planning to.
Correct.
So that would be, is that gonna be anything other than potential impeachment?
No,
Okay.
I think that.
And those would have been the same jail
the
calls that were listed under Sprinkle also.
Well, yes, I was going to say, yes, and the one in particular that I'm thinking about as I play it in my mind, whether it would be this particular one on January the 10th would be considered impeachment. It was right after the murder of Donovan Thomas, and it involved Mr. Bradford, a call from Mr. Arnold to Mr. Bradford.
Okay.
So it's a call that the state may tender on its own. I think it's one that the conversation needs to be heard. I think it's something that can't be captured in an
Okay.
examination and a response.
All right. So is that one that we need to litigate anything about? Yes.
It's-
The defense thinks so, so I guess we need
Okay.
to litigate it. There doesn't sound like there's agreement. Okay, is that something we can do now?
I just, if I could hear the specific objections so that I could respond appropriately. Mr. Whomever said that is correct. It is a 15-minute call, but
Okay.
I believe.
I'd ask the court just to allow us to know specifically the objection to it since the call has been identified.
Okay,
If I'm thinking of the right call, there's different people. Mr. Arnold is in custody, by the way, Your Honor. He's arrested on or about the 6th day of January 2015 outside of Club Crucial. You heard about this fight at Mr. Copeland. He's arrested outside.
Wow.
And I believe he's charged with either a small amount of marijuana or a gun or something to that effect.
okay.
It's now the 10th day of January 2015. It's approximately, my memory is 7:42. I may be wrong. And it's clearly a collect call. If the voices are identified the way the state says, it's Mr. Bradford at first and Mr. Arnold. but then there's another woman who's on the phone, who I am not going to stipulate who it is. And she gets on the phone and supposedly says something potentially about Mr. Williams. I am objecting to that portion if that person's not testifying. The person I believe it is, but I'm not stipulating, is Miss Morton. And I heard today that the state said that they will wait on the Honorable Douglas Weinstein to call Miss Morton to promote the alibi defense for Mr. Kendrick. So I would move to exclude that portion. There's other portions, and I just have to get my notes, Your Honor, but I can do that, that are not relevant. They're talking about, I don't know, the jail food, or I don't know. I don't want to make specifics,
Sure.
but it's nothing to do with anything happening in our case.
Okay. So understanding, at least I'll respond not to the jail food, but because that was at most a few words, but this is, we believe, calls between co-conspirators who are Mr. Arnold reaching out at first. I believe he may have initially had one purpose for reaching out, but the conversation turned to an alert or an informing of the current status of something that had just occurred. We believe that the thing that had just occurred that is a part of the larger conspiracy that is count one is the murder of Donovan Thomas. This is Mr. Arnold reaching out to Mr. Bradford, Mr. Arnold asking, you know, what's up, how things are, how are y'all doing? And Mr. Bradford saying some shit just occurred. He's, we believe, being intentionally selective with his words. And Mr. Arnold is asking where other people are. Miss Morton gets on the phone. Mr. Arnold specifically asked where Mr. Williams is. Ms. Morton says to Mr. Arnold, "Hey, Goldilocks." Mr. Arnold at some point had his hair dyed blonde gold, but she references him. And at some point, of course, Mr. Arnold asks, just to speak to the idea of we don't know who it is, Mr. Arnold asks Mr. Bradford, who is that? And Mr. Bradford, I think, says Bushi. And as they are apprising one another of what is happening outside the jail, as they're apprising Mr. Arnold of what's happening outside the jail, we believe that this whole conversation is a conversation between co-conspirators serving to inform each other of the current status of the conspiracy, which therefore furthers the conspiracy itself. It serves to maintain a certain level of cohesiveness among them. And each one of the people who are taking part in the conversation are persons, we believe, who have just had some involvement, if they did not switch cars with, provide transportation for the people we believe are involved in the murder of Donovan Thomas. They are advising each other of where the participants in that activity are at the moment that the inquiry is made. And I think I said that Mr. Arnold asked for Mr. Williams. It may have been that he asked for Mr. Kendrick. So that's a mistake on my part. He asked where Yak was. And I think that they, in responding where one of them was, Mr. Arnold was told that they were either with Mr. Williams. There was a reference to their current locations.
That's the longest sentence I've ever heard in my life.
And at this point, the entirety of the conversation, we believe is one that is informative, one that falls squarely under the co-conspirator statement category. So at the very least, there is that. We do intend to inquire of Mr. Arnold about that. I don't know what he's gonna say.
Okay.
But so it has two, we believe that it would be introduced in one of two ways.
So if Miss Morton is the person who answers the question of where Mr. Kendrick is and says where somebody else is as well, are you contending that she's an unindicted co-conspirator?
Oh, she is, we believe that she is, yes, an unindicted co-conspirator.
Wow.
She is, we're not saying that she, participated in the murder of Donovan Thomas, but in as much as her actions this night and what she does later on, I think the Kendrick, we won't be trying to get into what she told the police, but I'll just tell the court, she tries to provide an alibi initially. It's sort of, she's lying for Mr. Kendrick later on,
Which Doug was
when presented or confronted with the surveillance footage. She's kind of coy and, saying, I don't see who is that? I don't see that. So she, yes, is a part of the conspiracy in that sense. She's not indicted, but when we're looking at the broader conspiracy that involves YSL and protecting its members and carrying out its purposes, she is a part of that. She's
an
not indicted.
associate of YSL?
Yes.
okay. So apparently, I think this was a girl that Weinstein's client was dating, something like that. So here's what's going on. They are talking about some jail phone calls because for the rest of the afternoon, we're going through evidentiary issues. Now, there's a series of jail phone calls, one of which was between two men. And then there was a woman on that phone call who just so happens to be providing Yak Gotti's alibi. Now, that long-winded whatever Love just mentioned, she is trying to, the judge is trying to understand why that evidence should come in. And Brian is telling the court right now that he's going to object to it when it comes in because of a particular part of the statement, like things that are not relevant and things like that. Now, what we just heard Love say is that this woman is a part of the conspiracy because she believes that she is lying when providing the alibi for Yak Gotti. So we'll see how this plays out, but just a quick explainer on what's happening.
Your Honor, I would ask that this discussion be tabled for another day. Mr. Weinstein is more on the, has the details of this conversation and this evidence.
Okay, so I am going to need evidence other than, like what the state's evidence other than this one conversation is to establish that she's an unindicted co-conspirator. I assume, Mr. Steele, that would be your objection?
Yes, I have a series of objections under 24-801D2E. And specifically, and a good case I think is Stafford, STAFFORD versus State, 312, Georgia, 811. It's in Division 5A, as in Elisa, 865 Southeast 2D, 116, 2021. And Your Honor, my position is going to be just the law, like you've been articulating. The state first has a requirement by a preponderance of the evidence that a conspiracy existed, and which is what I focused on and what the court just focused on, that the Honorable Court focused on, that the conspiracy included the declarant and the defendant against whom the statement is offered. And the statement was made during the course and in furtherance of the conspiracy. And when you hear the recording, you may make determinations that one, if it is Miss Morton, if someone can identify her voice, that she is not a part of the conspiracy, and that would break the chain. And two, it may be a, quote, spilling of the beans, because the entire conversation is nothing to further the conspiracy. If anything, and I'm not saying there's any conspiracy, but if anything, it's very vague and something happened. And I'm not saying that personally, I'm going to argue that it does not further conspiracy. So there's many different objections that I will have.
All right. So that is something we need to come back to.
Yes, Your Honor.
And
just-
so far, I apologize.
Go ahead.
So far, to my memory, and please correct me, someone, I don't believe there's any testimony about Miss Morton in this entirety of the case. That's my belief. And the state just said that they potentially, I know they could change their mind, but potentially not going to even call her.
I'm not certain what when Mr. Steele says there's no testimony about Miss Morton. I'm not sure if he means there's not any that's been presented, or he hasn't seen where any could be presented in discovery, because
I think that any has been. Yeah, he's nodding his head in affirmation. Okay, well, I mean, as long as it will be.
yes, and I know that we've already shown the surveillance footage at the gas station. This is just in terms of the idea of Miss Morton. She's the person getting out of Ariel Bax's car, getting into the Pontiac Bonneville that Javoris Bradford is driving initially, that then Diamante Kendrick gets out of and walks to another car and comes back and ultimately gets into the driver's side of.
This is the video from the gas station that's the night of?
Yes.
Okay. And
Miss
it's allegedly like immediately after?
Oh, it is. It's immediately
Okay.
before. It's about
Immediately
6
before.
minutes before Donovan Thomas is
Okay.
gunned down 100 yards away.
Okay. And she is identifiable?
Oh, she's identifiable, identified.
All right, well, that sounds like that might do it, but we'll circle back on a day when Mr. Weinstein is here at Mr. Hell's request. And I assume there's going to be somebody that says, that's able to testify that her kind of street name is Bushi.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that is that jail call. And then what about Mr. Arnold's plea agreement? Is there a similar kind of factual acknowledgements as there was with Mr. Sledge?
There is with each defendant that pled guilty. And also, as I was over the time that the court broke from when the jury was here, I was going through my emails to try and do finish up the collection of correspondence at the time that I was speaking with Mr. Merchant, his attorney, to tell her he's coming up.
Okay.
And I found that same series of emails that I'll be sending to the.
Guys, we do have some breaking news out of Fulton County. It does appear that 8 counts against Donald Trump in Georgia after Judge McAfee slashed the original 13 in Fannie's case. I'm going to Steve Sadow's Twitter page. He says, my comment as lead counsel for President Trump in the Fulton County, Georgia case President Trump and his legal team in Georgia have prevailed once again. The trial court has decided that counts 15 and 27 in the indictment must be quashed/dismissed. Interesting, but just a quick update for you there. Let's go back to this.
The court
Okay.
and to counsel for the defense regarding her requested changes,
Okay, well,
or he is, or however.
I'm gonna hope that we don't end up calling another attorney to the
I don't-
side.
Judge, I didn't want to call the first one.
I didn't really go that well for you ultimately. I don't.
Well, see. We'll see.
Okay. All right, so in the event that the same or a similar thing ends up happening, I guess I'm gonna circle back, when we were talking about the admissibility of the factual acknowledgements plea agreement before, and I ruled that it was admitted, and Mr. Sharp said, okay, well, that may be, but there still may be some continuing witness issues. And I said, well, we'll deal with that later. I was thinking about that yesterday. And I also think that there are continuing witness issues with that.
I don't disagree with the continuing
Okay,
witness
so,
part.
basically that never got displayed to the jury because we only admitted it after the jury was gone and the witnesses were both off the stand. So really, that's not anything they'll ever see.
Actually, Judge, I tendered it I think I tendered it in front of the jury. And at the time there was an objection.
Right.
And I believe that to the extent that the court admitted it, it can be published. It can't go back.
Okay, well, I don't know who you would, I guess you don't necessarily need a witness to do that, but.
And since the court did bring that issue up, there was another matter regarding the factual acknowledgments that I wanted to bring to the court's attention.
Okay.
There was the testimony from the attorney regarding two portions of the final document, specifically as the only two portions that were taken issue with.
Right.
One being number 3, which the court remembers, but number 8
Right.
specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the argument will be made. There are certain arguments that are right for that, but the thing about number 8 that I wanted to bring to the court's attention is that number 8, and this is not something I felt was I didn't feel it was something to go back and forth with the witness on the stand about. He testified, his memory was, he didn't remember seeing it.
Right.
But number 8 was a distillation, a pulling apart of a iteration, the one right before it that he took issue with. And the reason the state tendered states 460 Yankee as well as 452 and 453 is that 452 contained the statement that 460 Yankee addressed, and in 460 Yankee, in as much as there were certain things that were not contested but clarified, but the personal knowledge part is a specific thing that wasn't denied, but that was implied. And I'm just saying that instead of having what the state did, what I know we did, and when Mr. Wright says he doesn't remember, that's fine. But when we provided to him the document that had it pulled out, there was not, I don't know how he says he didn't see it, but there was not any indication from anyone that that was incorrect. That wasn't just taken out of the air. That
No,
was,
I know that it wasn't, but we have already talked about that. I know what the state, I know and understand how it is that the state got to and believed that given the comments he made, you all could say, well, okay, still whether he knew it was planned or not, he still knew it happened and that they were responsible. But it doesn't actually say that in the iteration that got changed. And so that might have been the state's understanding of it. But, I mean, it is what it is. And you didn't explore that with the witness anyway. So, I mean, at this point.
I mean, obviously that was a protracted examination that I did not want to make more protracted, but I do think that in as much as there is an attempt to convince the jury that essentially these are made up things that the
That
state
you just
put.
slipped it in.
Yes.
Well,
I
mean, Miss Love, then put somebody else on the stand. But I mean, you telling me this, I mean, it doesn't do any, I mean.
The reason that I was telling the court that was not to try and completely relitigate an issue, but as to the section that dealt with his response, not the whole response, not the just 460, but I would ask if the court might consider reconsidering just us putting in that one part that he responded to, the way that he responded, and then the ultimate version, so that at least before the jury is where that came from, since there has been this continued effort to convince them that we make stuff up and we just, out of thin air.
Well, I mean, you're the one that decided to put him on the stand.
I don't regret that, or I don't think that that's the problem. That maybe, obviously minds can disagree. I don't think that that's the problem.
Okay, well, if it were as clear as somewhere in the earlier version was the statement, I personally know that members of YSL were responsible for this murder, or whatever it said in the ultimate version. If that were in the prior version, that would be one thing, but that's not in the prior version. So I have thought that issue through.
Yes, sir.
I understood that to be your argument yesterday or the day before, whenever it occurred, the day before and yesterday. And I just.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Appreciate you giving it yet another try there. And I'm being facetious when I say that.
I know you are.
Okay.
Next.
So anyway, with regard to if the same or something similar comes up with some other of these co-defendants who have pled, then just be aware that, and it sounds like we're all in agreement that it can't go out to the jury anyway. So if you want them to see it and it does get admitted, you'll need to display it at that time. And if you come up with a way to publish this other one, then let me know.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so then if we turn to the next page, we've got Miss Latner's again. I know we went through did we go through every CAD report she's gonna be testifying to when we were talking about the hearsay?
I think that we did.
Okay,
The
all
court
right, so
ruled
that
on,
part's
yeah.
taken care of. All right, then there's Mariah Smith, and that says interview. Is that like with police or with, who is that with?
It was an interview with with the police, and she also testified at trial. We don't need to, or we
Oh,
would
she's
not.
already testified?
No, not this trial.
Oh, at a different, oh,
In the murder
the
trial.
2015
Yes.
trial.
No,
Okay.
it wasn't 2015.
Some other.
2019, yes.
Okay.
So that, we would not need that for any reason other than if she,
Impeachment. Okay.
right, or substantive.
Okay. All right.
Prior inconsistent statements.
Right. We're on a different act at this point. I see. And same for whomever the
Right.
two people are?
We had Rodney Uten and Bernard.
And or Bernard Mitchell, and you were going to call one or the other.
Right.
Okay. Same with them.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Detective Hogan. We know we need the interview of Ryan's not coming in. And then we've already done Mr. Ryan's social media, right?
I don't think we've done all of it. I think that's something that we were,
We're continuing on with evidentiary issues. John, I actually had a stream earlier today that was removed without my intention. YouTube decided to remove it. There was several reasons. I appealed it. I'm trying to figure out if that's happened to other channels. Some people are sending me emails that, somebody reported the channel a few times today. So, for YouTubers, that's not good at all. The worst thing that can happen is to have strikes on your channel. So I don't know what the future holds, but hard work pays off, and then sometimes it doesn't. So we're gonna keep going. But yes, to answer your question, John, I had a stream. I was on earlier, but we are watching the tail end of the day.
Ms. Hilton and Ms. Abbasi
All right. Y'all are going to.
are still
That's the
discussing,
email.
and we have,
Okay.
Email I sent.
Okay.
You're
Great.
supposed to like get back to me.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. DeWilliams and I have been
Great.
communicating.
All right. Wooney Lee, then that's going to be play agreement, same kind of similar thing. And then text message, anything we need to litigate with regard to that text message?
No, I don't think so.
Anybody? Okay.
Because they laid the foundation.
Yeah. Okay. And then blog videos, social media, and music when we flip the page.
Yes, so I don't know what objection anybody would have, given that it is Mr. Lee who's on the stand, but the video itself is specifically the blog video. We believe is definitely an overact. They are talking about the meaning of certain terms, slat, and Mr. Lee makes a comment into the camera and then puts his hand over his mouth and says, shh. So that video itself, we believe, constitutes an overact in furtherance of this
Okay.
conspiracy.
And then y'all are familiar with the whatever the social media and music is going to be. So if there are any issues.
Hesitate to say yes to that because music, I don't know exactly what the state is referring to the extent that a song by Mr. Lee has been identified or is listed as an overact, which I don't recall off the top of my head, but I guess I'd have to know what the music is and then there's a 403 analysis, there's
Okay.
Baker, the Baker case that came out earlier this year. And of course, even though it's not our client's statements, it would be affecting our clients. So yes.
What's that site?
Judge, I don't think that Baker, it applies
I
to
don't
this
know
set
that
of
I've
circumstances
looked
at
that
all.
So.
Well, Baker was
It's
Baker dealt with a music video, but it was really a 403 analysis
Okay.
case. And I can get the site. We dealt with it earlier
Well,
in this
I'll
case.
just put in
But-
Baker music video in 403 and I bet it in 2024.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, I don't know specifically when they say music, what we're
Okay.
talking about, so.
And is this Mr. Lee's music or somebody else's?
Mr. Lee's.
Okay.
318 Georgia 431 is
Thank
the
you.
site for Baker. March 2024.
Okay. Do you know what music?
Yes, there was the song, and there was also this, I think that this particular issue was litigated and decided in an order that was filed by the previous trial judge on November 27, 2023.
Yeah, no,
Oh, so you're just
yeah,
asking
that,
about which?
you're not talking about that issue. You're,
I am.
You
We
are.
did, now,
Okay.
I'm
You
going
are.
off my recollection. We did litigate songs. We litigated a song by my client. We litigated some songs by Mr. Williams, and we litigated a song by Mr. Kendrick. I do not recall litigating the Wooney Lee song. Mr. Steele is affirming my recollection. But, so we do need to address that at some point.
okay.
I think under
What was the date of the order?
November the 20, November 27, 2023.
Okay.
So on page 40, and this is not necessarily specifically talking to a lyric, but the court ruled that the lyrics evidence referenced in Division 8, supra, is admissible against defendants Lee and Kendrick as a party admission and all defendants as a co-conspirator admission. The court found it relevant to count 1, RICO conspiracy, Acts 17 through 19, and count 2, murder, and that it is admissible to show actus reus mens rea and as proof of the existence and nature of the gang enterprise, the criminal nature of YSL, the connection of the defendants with one another as intrinsic evidence, and under OCGA 1615.3 and 1615.9.
Okay, but was this particular song included in section 8?
I'm making sure about the lyrics that we referenced in section 8, Your Honor, if the court would indulge us one moment.
Okay, no problem.
It is referenced on page 35, number 13. Where are you from? Wooney Lee is Slime Life Shouty. And specifically, where are you from? I'm from Believeland. Throw your setup, YSL. The ops hate the crew. We getting this paper and we ducking cases. Free Lil Shannon. He the one that had him running with the cannon.
Okay. Looks like that was already litigated.
I'm going to suggest that we will go back to see to the video of court, because I mean, sometimes I don't know who writes the order sometimes. So I just want to make sure that it was actually litigated in court.
Okay, well, if it was set forth in a motion or brief or anything, whether it was talked about in court or not, if it was included in the order, the decision was made that I covered that. I mean, the court, the predecessor judge included that in the order. And you are welcome to go look at what the transcript said, but I don't think it matters whether it was specifically talked about or not, as long as it was included in what the court was considering.
Okay, well,
Okay.
we're gonna look at
All
that.
right.
Thank you.
All right, and then it's his own social media, and it's been sufficiently identified that, or has it been sufficiently identified that the defense knows what that means by social media?
Yes, Your Honor, I
Okay.
believe it has, yes.
All right, that's fine. I mean,
And
I haven't
actually,
been
they
there
are
the whole
in,
time, so.
most of them are listed in the indictment themselves
Okay.
as overacts. And I think there was a reference earlier to something being listed as an overact, that the state reference is an overact. I did not say it was listed. I just said it is or
Okay.
constituted one.
All right. And then next we've got either Detective Viverito and or Mike Sprinkle with the social media post detailed there, and then Mr. Ryan's conviction, which y'all are gonna brief me on various topics about. And Ms. Abbasi was here yesterday when we were talking about what kind of briefs and case law was owed, so she'll know what that was. And Miss Love, I know at the time when you gave us this, that's the more detailed exhibits, that was as far as you'd gotten at the time. And if you didn't continue on, that's fine, because I said, no, don't take so much time doing that. Just give us, a general list. But if you have done more,
We can do more. I can't say right now that we've done more.
if you haven't, no, I'd rather you focus on the other
Okay.
tasks I've given you. I just
Okay.
thought, hey, if it's sitting around, we'll take it. But
Okay.
if it hadn't been generated, don't worry about
Thank you.
it. Okay. All right, so then Colin Russell, any issue with the exhibits that are listed next to him? I wouldn't think so. Would y'all mind responding so I know the answer, somebody? Okay. Okay, so, no, I was just moving down through the witness list. So we're on Colin Russell now. He's on page 9, number 36. Does anybody anticipate issues we need to litigate beforehand with regard to any of the exhibits that are gonna come in through him? And I don't know whether y'all are thinking or whether you're just like, no, I don't know. Okay. Is everybody good? Does anybody need a bathroom break? I assume y'all will just tell me if you do, but silence equals assent, I guess. All right, DeJuan Maynard on the next page, social media. Any issues on that? That's gonna be his own social media.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, is there any issue, everybody has all the body cam that might come in, right? Okay. Okay, number 41, Officer Francis, social media, is that somebody else's social media then? At
That would be
point?
screenshots that the victim sent to.
Okay,
You have that.
Officer
No
Francis.
issues.
All right. Unless there's anything else on that page, I'm turning to the next page. Miss Stanley, there's a jail call listed. Are there gonna be any issues there?
No issues for that, Your Honor. One of the parties on the jail call is alleged to be a co-defendant in this case.
Okay,
So to the extent that that particular person, obviously we won't have an opportunity to question that person. That person's represented, that person's under indictment.
and do you mind telling me who it is?
Mender.
Okay.
That raises somewhat of a concern for us.
Because y'all aren't, what concern exactly?
Clearly wouldn't have an opportunity to cross-examine that person. That person obviously is under this indictment. It's not on the witness list as a witness. So the issues that arise with respect to that concerns us, obviously.
All right.
Your Honor, I might be incorrect, but I think we've already litigated that and sent the court the order. I'm checking with my team.
And speaking of teams, thank you guys for the support. We're going to get to the bottom of what happened with the whole thing. I mean, I appealed it. It's fine. I just feel bad because a lot of you guys contribute to these streams. So when that happens, they say that the stream is not eligible for monetization. And it is a big deal. A lot of you guys are asking how you can help. I'm going to be giving you guys a few more wrenches in the chat, all of that stuff. Yeah, I'll be honest, guys. I'm really bummed out. Yeah, and you know, I work hard, like 8 hours a day, you know, so I'm going to regroup with my team after this and we will come up with a game plan, but it's okay. I appealed it and thank you guys for the support. We'll get there. Let's go back in.
Yeah, like an hour ago. It's really weird because I mean, it's only on page like 85. Warning, local storage cache is full. I mean, if you want to. I like that sweater. It's pretty colors.
I think we have TiVo time, so I'm going to skip this if we can.
Just fixing something on my real time.
Sha, they did. It was around like 58 minutes of this morning's stream. And honestly, it was around the time It was around the time of the green blazer. So that's why I'm like, I couldn't understand what was wrong, but I did see a phone number on the screen as well, and that was the 911 report. So we will wait to hear their response, but I appealed it.
Okay. All right. She's, I think, ready now. Are you ready now? Almost. It's all right. You don't have to. It's okay. Thank you, though. Okay, ready.
So I know that the issue had been previously litigated and tried to bring it back up again. I think the court indicated that it's been litigated. I just wanted to remind the court or say to the court again that my concern was just concerning Minder being a co-defendant in this case. And I believe he's on that. It's alleged that he's one of the people on that call with Tiana, Stanley, and supposedly Mr. Holloman. So prior to this honorable court coming on board, the matter had been litigated previously.
All right.
I tried to readdress it with your honor, and the court indicated it's been resolved.
November 16th, 2023 was the date the order was entered.
All right.
But that was my concern.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Okay. And Your Honor,
Yes.
just for full context, the last line of the order reads that the court grants the state's October 24, 2023 motion to introduce Gary Holloman's statement to defendant Minder's mother and defendant Minder in the three-way conversation the day after the robbery as residual hearsay evidence pursuant to 24-807. That's different than what, well, it's in the same call, but I heard Mr. Matthews reference something.
The residual hearsay issue I actually did look at again, and I came to the same
Okay.
conclusion. So you're talking about something different. Is right?
Yes.
You're talking about kind of, I guess, confrontation issues. Was that litigated?
So I don't know that there's, when we say
I wouldn't think that's
it's not a confrontation clause,
testimonial.
right, in any way.
Bruton issues. Okay, so it's not confrontation issues because it's not testimonial, but there might be Bruton issues.
I don't
I don't know. I'd have to listen to the.
I don't think Bruton issues would exist in this type of context.
I
think
wouldn't
it's-
either. So, okay, so what then?
Well, I clearly wouldn't have an opportunity to cross-examine this person has certain rights.
Okay.
Because they're on the indictment.
Well, they're not. Yeah, they're not testifying.
That is part of the issue.
But when you have a right to cross-examine somebody is when they're giving some kind of a testimonial evidence against you. So even if they weren't on the stand, if this were a testimonial type statement, then you would have a right to cross-examine, and we would otherwise have a confrontation clause problem. But you don't have the right to cross-examine on something like this if it's not a testimonial type statement. So, okay. Okay, so maybe I'm just not following what it is that your argument is going to be.
I know that we're going to be unable to cross.
Okay, well, all right.
We'll deal with that.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the only issue in that. That was the only remaining issue.
Okay.
I did want to bring to the court's attention, Judge, that represented to the court about the prosecution of Mr. Holloman and Stanley and Mender. I think they indicated that this was.
Thank you guys for the hearts. That's very
Right.
sweet. It's really sweet, you guys.
That is in fact the relationship. It's not a nephew. And it was not a nephew, but that'll come out later. Because that was part of the, I think the court.
I had noted that as yet another reason why it was okay for it to come in. But, I mean,
The, Mr. So I think that Mr. Holloman, I think he references him as
uncle,
yeah, but even though there's not a blood
isn't he
relationship.
the brother of
No, so
Mr. Mender's mother? Or,
no, not brother.
or aunt or whatever?
So
Who is he the brother of?
he's not a brother. He is a very close friend, and they call each other
Uncle,
brother.
which,
Yes,
and sister and whatever. Okay. Well, they obviously, I mean, don't they even refer in the call?
he
to
does. Yes, they.
His sister? Or
He refers
I know
to.
that they call him uncle or unk or something, but I thought there was even a reference in the call to one of the people being his sister.
There are those types of references without listening again, but they are calling one another those types of family names.
Even though they're not blood relation,
Correct.
because they obviously feel that close to each other. And
Yes.
there are times when, somebody's a close family friend, but they're considered an aunt or an uncle. So it apparently is that instead. So, okay. Thank you,
Your
though.
Honor,
Yes.
on that issue, I join the Honorable Mr. Matthews, and I understand you ruled residual hearsay under 24-8-807, but that's supposed to be used very rarely.
I know.
And yes, it's not, I agree, it's not prudent, it's not testimonial. It can't be prudent because it's not testimonial. But this is an overt act, and it's therefore applies to everyone. So under 403, I know I'm going to ask for a limiting instruction if your ruling stands, but that's a very tough instruction when it's a overt act in a RICO case, because it's the same thing like the conviction by the jury of Mr. Ryan that we discussed yesterday. You're telling the jury you can use it against person one, but not against the other five. But it's an overt act that they can use on one person's verdict form, but not another. And I just don't, I would ask the court, since it's 807, which really has to be like prior sworn testimony that was cross-examined or a dying declaration, I would just ask the court to potentially reconsider or allow a limiting instruction that will help you craft, of course, if you approve it. But otherwise, I don't know why it comes in against Mr. Williams.
Okay, so those are two of the examples of types of evidence that come in under 807, but that's not the entire universe. So the fact that it isn't either of those two things isn't determinative or dispositive. And I don't know that a limiting instruction would be appropriate here. And you're welcome to craft one and present it, and I'll consider whether I think it's appropriate, but
I was always taught by your court and the courts in general that residual hearsay is really, and I'm just looking,
I know.
it says, if you don't mind, it says, it must be equivalent to cross-examined former testimony, statements under the belief of impending death, statements against interests, and statements of personal or family history, not just that people are related, and that these categories of hearsay have attributes of trustworthiness not possessed by the general run of hearsay statements that tip the balance in favor of introducing the information if the declarant is unavailable to testify. And that's another thing. And that's, by the way, I was reading out of ASH versus State, 312 Georgia 771. It's in division. It's in division 3B as in Barry, and that's 2021. But also, a person to that conversation is available to be cross-examined. I'm not talking about a person with a Fifth Amendment right, but there's another person who I believe is available to be subpoenaed and is on the state's witness list. If I'm wrong, I don't want to be wrong, but I believe that what I said is accurate, that the person is here in Atlanta and could be subpoenaed. So I would ask again,
And who is that?
Miss Mender, but that if Mr. Matthews can help me with the name.
Sorry, I was on mute, but I'm reading this comment. Shout out to Trial Groupie who says, AV, I'm sorry I was ignorant that flagging the actual comments flagged your channel. Actually, I'm a faithful patron to your channel. What can I do to help your appeal? Well, I appealed it. So because I was trying to understand what I did wrong, but I did not know that someone in the chat was flagging the comments. I know that, because even myself, like when it came to some of the witnesses, like that second witness, I like I said, like somebody made a wig comment. I was like, listen, I think it sucks that she got shot in the butt. Like I don't really believe that I did anything wrong. But I know some of you guys are new to or live streaming. It does put up, like you get on YouTube's naughty list. They did tell me that they did not strike the channel, but I assumed that it was because of the personal information that was being shown on the screen, not that someone was in the chat flagging the comments. Okay. What I was thinking is my team, I know sometimes like the comment section can be the Coliseum, and we're doing our best to control that. But at the same time, we guys want you to have fun. So, if we censor y'all too much, and we already have a lot of moderators, it's very hard to control if some people say some things that you don't like, right? So, we're going to have to figure it out. And I think the best course of action, and Trial Groupie, if you want to help, if there are certain things that you don't want said in the chat, maybe you can help us shape what those guidelines are. But, it's okay. Like things happen. It's fine. I just want to make sure that this community is a good community and a healthy community, because it is fun, So if there are some things that you've seen, send us an email and my team will look at it. But, we have seen some emails where other people are like, oh, we want to make sure it's a good community and there's no bullying and things like that. So if you want to help Trial Groupie, like maybe that's how you can help us. But at the end of the day, we work really hard over here. I'm paying 2 editors right now to help me hold everything down. I'm working every day. So I don't want to be on YouTube's naughty list, right? So water under the bridge, no big deal. But, if you guys want to help, the best way to help is to keep this from happening again, So thank you. And thank you for being honest and brave enough in front of 4,000 people to actually say, hey, it could have been me. So if that's the case, no harm, no foul. It's all right. We're going to get through it. But I just wanted to pause real quick and address that, because I didn't know that. I thought it was just, what was being displayed on the screen. So we're all learning. It's okay. But I'm going to hit play. And I think we're almost at 5 o'clock too. So this day is coming to a close soon.
Who?
So we're referring to Kiana.
Okay.
That's who we're referring to.
Okay. So I mean, this is the witness that this would come in with.
So we do have Tiana Stanley on the list.
She's witness number 45
Right.
on this. I mean, that's
That's right.
who
That's-
it's coming in through.
Right. That's what we have. That's literally the evidence that we have next to her. And of course, the court's aware that Mr. Holloman is deceased. And so it falls squarely under, we believe the court made the right ruling. 24-807. We believe all three requirements under the statute are met.
Okay. All right, then we come down to Sergeant Henderson with Mr. Huey's interview and social media.
The court see Officer Kohlenbacher still on?
Yes, but I mean, all that says is testimony. Okay.
And as far as Henderson goes, I've reviewed everything, so we're okay.
Okay. Belknap. Any, I mean, I guess if the search wasn't.
Judge, with respect to Belknap on that, what's on Belknap for us, Judge, is some items that were found concerning Chandler Durham. And
Okay.
our position is that this particular information that this investigator would testify to is not part of any overt acts. I don't believe Chandler Durham is on the witness list. I believe it's intrinsic. So I would argue that information should be kept out.
Ms. Love?
Just to make sure that I understand my colleague's argument is that because Mr. Durham's name is not on the witness list and because this act is not listed as an overt act, it should be kept out. Is that the entirety of the argument? I just want to make sure before I respond.
Is that the argument?
I didn't say, I thought I said confrontation clause. But
You did not say confrontation clause, but if we're talking about items found at the home, this is items that Investigator Belknap found
Time of
in the search of Mr. Huey's apartment. And they ended up being, I guess, I don't know, allegedly from Chandler Durham.
that's correct.
And is the issue who actually says they are from Chandler Durham, if it's not going to be Chandler Durham?
So I know that we had Chandler Durham on our witness list. We have pared things down. If it turns out that we ultimately left him off, and I'm making sure that we did, that's just one more person that we'll just want to
Add back in?
Yes, that we'll just add back in.
Okay, so, I mean, that would just be like hearsay if he says Chandler Durham said these were his.
Unless Chandler is coming to court.
Okay.
Confrontation clause.
And this is also a circumstance where, so just to respond to a part that I don't think is material to the objection, but Chandler Durham is part of one of the overacts listed, I think.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't think that's their real
Right.
point. I think it's
Right.
how can he say these are his?
We have to add it back.
All
But
right,
also
so-
we have Defendant Williams' sort of implicit statement that there he is, because he's admonishing, he's warning Huey that if he doesn't take it back, somebody gonna die.
What just happened?
So we,
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe, even though I appreciate your efforts to pare down your witness list, this is one witness you're going to need to add back.
So back up to 99, guys.
As the defense is otherwise going to
understood. Your Honor.
object. So, okay.
That circumstance may come up again.
All right, Officer Gordon, Phoenix video. All right. And then Bernie. Yeah, we've talked about him already. And then when we turn to the next page, page 12, this is one of those subsequent allegedly intrinsic acts. And I know I ruled on 2 and withheld ruling on 2. Yeah. And this is, I think, one of the ones that I ruled out. It is. So we can eliminate that witness if that's all they're testifying to, right? Hmm? I don't know. Well, I'm on page 12, witnesses number 51 and 52.
Mr. Smith and
No. Timothy Brown, an investigator of Viverito. Hmm?
Oh, okay. Yes, report did. Yes, so that. Now, Mr.
Hang on. So 48 and 49 were Belknap and Flores, and we have moved on past them. We must be looking at a different document then.
48 for us is Deputy Timothy Brown, 49 for us is investigator.
Okay, well, I don't know how that happened. I've got either an earlier or a later version. I don't know. What does yours say?
She's trying to break in, Mike. She can't figure it out. I've been trying to mute it.
What is the last witness number y'all have on yours?
Last one that we have on ours is witness 105. That's Lieutenant Lynch.
Okay, so you know what? I remember you saying at some point, I've added 2 witnesses, so it's different. And it maybe y'all are just looking at a different one, but the 2 witnesses, obviously, we just maybe. So you have 48 as who?
48 is Deputy Timothy Brown.
Okay. And I have that as 51. So somewhere above that are
Somewhere-
2 witnesses who, I don't know. Do you remember the 2 witnesses you added in? Okay, so how about this? Going up from Belknap, I've got Henderson, Kornbacher, Stanley, Coppage. Y'all just tell me when you, yes, okay. When you hear one that you don't have, let me know. The AT&T Custodian of Records, Greer, Francis, Suk, Jenkins, Maynard, Hines, Russell, Latners, Viverito and Sprinkle, Lee, Hogan, Uten or Mitchell, Smith, Holmes, Latners, Underwood, Kilgore.
It's a long list.
Yeah. Oh, there's no number for it. No. Okay, Munson, Arnold, Dennis, Jenkins, Hill, Battle, Turner, Pitts, Bell, Latners, Smith, Sanders, LeDuc or LeDuc. What's on here is Zappa, that's really Appa. Reed, Voss and Weitzel, Bernie, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, Sprinkle, Morton. Okay. The two, okay.
Oh, yeah, we had to add those because
Mystery solved.
there was no stipulation, so we
Okay.
did have to add those two
Okay.
people.
She just wanted to rub it in that y'all will not stipulate to the
I would never. do that.
phone record
Never.
being a phone record. Okay. All right, so anyway, back to Timothy Brown and Viverito on that issue. We can strike those two witnesses because that evidence is not coming in.
That is correct. Timothy Brown and
Wait, you had those listed in the indictment? Why does this say? So when I'm looking back at that, you've got like the counts and the acts. Right above those two people, you have counts 44 through 46, acts 169 and 170. Y'all had those in the indictment? How could you have done that?
Judge, I can just give you 1 second. I'm going back to where we are. Yeah. So the indictment, let me look at my indictment. Make sure.
Wowzers. How do you not know what's in the indictment? I have it right here on my desktop.
Oh, okay. So, Judge, as
So
it
these are
relates
in
to,
the
these are in the, right.
Okay,
The
so this
indictment
is
came out May.
different than
Right, then the
the
other,
other
yes.
things that were subsequent intrinsic.
And that's not me. So Judge, does the awareness of similar acts having been
I mean, maybe.
committed?
Maybe. Okay. So I'm sorry, those are obviously not out because those are indicted. And let me think about how similar that's pretty similar. I might revisit that ruling.
Thank you.
Not sure y'all made that argument at the time we were talking about it before. All right. What do you say we break for the day, y'all?
Okay.
Yes. Let's
I
do
say
it.
break for the day. All right, and do we have any word? Okay. All right, so we will reconvene at 9 tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to do jury and witnesses, and apparently we haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
So just plan to do that, and if not, it'll be another day like this.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Will the court, I know the court usually does, but if the court hears something like after hours, does the court incline to send out an email or?
If it is something, well, I mean,
I don't know.
we're gonna be here and do something regardless, but I guess you would want to know for your witnesses.
Yes.
So yes, if we hear something
Thank you.
that is, we won't have a jury available tomorrow, then I will let y'all know
Thank you. Thank you.
by, I guess.
It doesn't
email.
matter what time, just before we have them
Okay,
come up.
well, at some point, Miss Hurstfield and I both turn off our computers and cell phones, so,
That's healthy. We should all just.
you know, I don't think that we're gonna be finding out at midnight anyway. I think we'll be finding out at a reasonable hour, hopefully. And if it is that they're not available, then I will let y'all know so that you don't have witnesses here for no reason.
Thank you.
Okay. And if I even hear in the morning, you know,
That's
early
good.
enough, I'll let you know. Okay,
It doesn't matter what time, just,
All right.
Thank you.
thanks.
She was so over it. She's like, let's get out of here. Wow, what a day, y'all. What a day. Court is officially done for the day. Let's see who we have. We're going to take our super chat break and then go from there. Thank you guys so much for all of the love, just watching throughout the day. It was a little bit crazy, but we got through it, right? We got through it. I think I left off at around Mango Gelato. So thanks again, Mango Gelato, for the 5. She says, hi, AV, YSL, Luna, please. Yeah, she's been trying to break into this door. You guys thought that that there was a dog in the courtroom. No, it's her. It's her. Usually she breaks in. I don't know what's going on, but I'm about to take her for a walk soon. Anywho. So we'll do that soon. Shout out to Giddy with the 2, says, sorry, I missed why the jury got sent home. I think I did read this one. It looks familiar. Yeah, I think one of the jurors was sick, but we are supposed to be starting tomorrow bright and early around 9. So for us, that means like 9:45, 10-ish, just so we can get a little bit of TiVo time. So I'll schedule that stream tonight. Thank you, Giddy. Shout out to Enrique with the 2, says, my nickname is Rico. We need where is RICO merch. Yeah, I think I might actually have to post that one just because. So thank you so much. An actual RICO has been found in the chat. Thank you so much, Enrique. Shout out to Rashid with the 2, says, they trying to RICO you, AV. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on, but luckily we got to the bottom of it. We know what's happening and we will have a resolution. Shout out to Lee with the 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Lee, for gifting 5 memberships. Very sweet of you. Shout out to Red Bunny Classic with the 5, says, Love and Hilton ain't thinking that far ahead. Team Fanny be out here doxing folks. They do. And I would, even if they just put like a black block over the person's, some of the phone numbers and stuff, but at the same time, it's not the first time they've actually read phone numbers in court. Some of y'all have called the phone numbers. That's why I was like, does something happen? What is going on? But thank you so much, Red Bunny Classic. Shout out to Azine with the 2, says, YouTube blocked the morning stream. Harassment. Yeah. No. And I know a lot of you guys are new and getting the hang of how all this works, and that's okay. But thank you so much, Azine. Shout out to Asiatic. I'm just going to call you AZ, who became a member. Welcome, AZ. Thank you so much for becoming a valued member of the channel. Shout out to Rashid, who hits me with the 2. Rashid says, everybody's sick of love. She don't have anybody. I was thinking about that, like even just as a career prosecutor, and who knows, like, have you guys seen a wedding band on her hand? I haven't, but let's look. We're going to be on Ring Watch tomorrow. That's going to be fun. Thank you so much, Rashid. Shout out to Candy with the 20, says, wow, AV, that's jacked up. I'm curious to know why the judge allowed that in the first place. She knows it's being live streamed. Well, yeah, and that's why I thought that, because I was like, why aren't the other channels, like, their stuff coming down? So then it just started to feel a little bit more specific. And I'm like, because Kat was in my chat earlier. You guys saw Kat Not Williams in the chat. She's another trial streamer. She is doing this exact same thing. And her stream was still up. Dear Woke Christian stream was still up. But I suspected with Law and Crime, because they did, if you go and look at it, they did cut the first 4 hours of the day. I suspect because of that personal information that was on the website. And sorry, that was on the screen. And their chats are the largest. They usually have anywhere between 15 to 20,000 people watching. So that is crazy. But thank you so much, Candy. Shout out to Sammy with the 5, says, I went back to the beginning of the trial on Fox Atlanta and all of the stream is still there. Is this a hit at streamers? No, it seems like we figured it out. Thank you so much for that, Sammy. Shout out to Azine again with the 2, says, sorry, I'm behind. I see you already addressed YouTube. Yep, we got that straightened out. Good to go there. Shout out to the Bull with the 2, says, that's Sister Ruby on the pusher board. Yeah, put Sister Ruby on the pusher board. That's funny. Thank you so much, B. Shout out to Michelle with the 5, says, good afternoon, AV and all. Thank you so much, Michelle. Shout out to Dr. Whiskey TV with the 5, says, yeah, they're probably talking about old girl's phone number from the 911 call. I think so. And it does make me feel good that Law and Crime cut that part, because I think sometimes even, in our case, we have a mistake report here. But I think the other thing that happens is it might have not been a person that was reviewing it. I think it went through their automated system. So we actually might be okay. Because what the automated system found after the report was the personal information. So it's okay. The channel's all right. There's not a strike. It's just more of a unintentional warning, which is okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Whiskey TV. Shout out to D the Bull again with the 2, says, what did shots sound like? She asked. I know that was a crazy question, D. Like, what did the shootings sound like? It's just like shots, like, gunshots. They have a specific sound. Thank you so much, D. Shout out to Audrey with the 5 that says free AV's video. Yep, and that's right. So the morning stream is gone. I can't bring it back. It is temporary, like they removed it because of the issue from this morning, but that's okay. I think we can get control over this. Like, my moderators are great. I'm gonna probably have a few more on hand because they can't always make it. Like, Gail at Night is one of the best moderators on YouTube, the best. She moderates for so many channels and she's usually here, but sometimes she can't always make it. So that's why you'll notice people with blue wrenches in the chat. That is their job. Their job is, if like anybody gets like crazy in the chat, they have the ability to time people out, to delete comments, to make sure that the chat is just healthy and functional. And, I'm not going to stop. Like, we do joke, but at the same time, let the moderators will handle that, right? That's what their job is. And that's why they have wrenches. So I'm going to give them some additional guidance on just what the lines are, but I want you guys to have a good experience too. I cannot physically look at 3 monitors, pull up legal research, pay attention to the trial, take notes, and watch the chat. That's why they're here to help me, right? So thank you so much, Mons. And yes, the video is gone, but that's okay. I also just want to shout out the people that are always supporting every stream. Audrey is a good example of that. But thank you so much, Audrey, for helping out. Thank you. Shout out to Blaze with the 5. Blaze says, I tried to click it and it said for harassment and bullying, not on the platform, hating on AV. Yeah, we talked about that, but thank you so much, Blaze. Shout out to Don, been a member for 2 months. He says, AV, do you have a backup or a second channel? I might have to consider that just because accidents happen, but we'll see. And the other thing too, guys, that I've learned, and I'm going to recap this with my team and, the YouTube people, just to, how long do I stay on the naughty list? Like, do I get shadow banned? But I noticed that this morning we had 6,000 or 7,000 in the chat. And then all this afternoon, it's only been sitting around 4. So that's the issue when you get on this naughty list, is they're like, uh-oh, this might be a high risk channel. Do we want to put it in front of people? So it's okay. We'll get there. But I think maybe having a backup or a second channel might be a good idea as well. So great idea, Dawn. Thank you so much. Shout out to Blaze with the 2. Blaze says, about to have AV wipe her nose. Get those likes up. Thank you guys for all the likes today too. That has been fantastic. Shout out to Miss Crotty Shetty with the 5. She says, AV, is it typical for the prosecution to lay out a case like this? Seems disjointed. No, it is not typical. What they're supposed to do is have everything ready beforehand, right? But with this case being as large as it is, Glanville was kind of letting them go through these pieces of evidence on a rolling basis because there were so many witnesses. And apparently Whitaker is trying to get through that. So on these days where there is no jury, she's actually forcing the state to go through every single witness, let us know in advance what evidence is coming in. And then that's what we watched today. They're called administrative days. We have to see how, if the prosecution and the defense attorneys are going to have any evidentiary issues, and they duke it out before it's jury time. Because can you imagine that if they had to do this on the fly in front of the jury, it would be a logistical nightmare. So thank you so much, Ms. Crotty Shetty. I hope that answers the question. Shout out to Edgar. I did catch this one earlier and his typo. I think I left off right here with Edgar. He came back with the 10. He says, thanks for the recap, AV. The fires are not around my house, but we had a really nice earthquake this morning. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in Cali. That's what scares me about moving to Cali, but the weather's nice. But what really scares me is like the earthquakes. But I'm happy that most of you guys that are in Cali are okay. Shout out to Audrey with the 2, says, have you checked with Dear Will Christian? Yeah, I was checking throughout just to make sure I wasn't the only one, things like that. Thank you, Audrey. Shout out to Cam the Gym with the 2, says, when you're number 1, they come for you. Great job, AB. Thank you so much, Cam. And like I said, it's been hard because number 1, on Monday, we were the number 1 live streaming channel in the United States. And I was really, really excited and proud of that. Still am. So that's why, this channel has become my baby. I work so hard on it, so it is what it is. But thank you so much, Cam. Onward and upward. Shout out to Diamond with the 2, says, now I see the importance of a speedy trial. Yeah, because guess what? The defendants are going to court and then they're getting back on, the transportation and going back to jail every single day. So imagine what this is like for them. And I hear that Young Thug actually wakes up earlier because he's at a different jail. He has to wake up, I heard, at like 6 a.m. just to get here on time and then sit through all of that and then go back to jail at the end of the night. So this is extremely excruciating for the defendants too. And they can no longer listen to music. They can no longer have their snacks, all of that stuff. So thank you so much, Diamond. Shout out to Maria, who became a member. Welcome, Maria. Really, really appreciate you. Shout out to Unique Men with the 2. And Unique Men, you're one of those people that I do want to apologize to because the stream came down. The contributions to that stream are gone, unfortunately. So thank you so much for that. And Unique Men says, so you are aware of the rules, but you don't follow it. I mean, this wasn't necessarily something that I did in particular, but we're going to put guardrails in place in the future so it doesn't happen again, if that makes sense. Thank you so much, Unique Man. Shout out to Lucretia. I hope I'm saying that right. I always get worried when I say y'all's names wrong. Lucretia hits me with the $5 super sticker. Thank you so much, sis. Shout out to Zach with the 10. Zach says, drink on me tonight from one Beantowner to another after this nonsense. Love the grind and tell YouTube to scram. You can't control national TV or miss no love. Thank you so much, Zach. And I did not know that you were here in Boston. Thank you, Zach. I will definitely go and get a cold one on behalf of you. Just on behalf of you, Zachy. Thank you so much. Shout out to Trucker T Brooklyn with the 10, says, get the likes up. Let's get Miss AV Power to the 25K family. Wow, that would be amazing. But I know we can build it. The little channel that could. We're doing it. Thank you so much, Trucker T Brooklyn. And Trucker T sends another 5. He says, I mean 75K for Miss Power, not 25K. Thank you. I appreciate that, Trucker T. You are the best. Another one of the subs that has been around for quite some time. Trucker T Brooklyn is back with another 5. Says, get this judge out of here. She's a part of the Fanny Pants Gorilla Grip Willis party. Let's go, Brian/Mad Max. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Trucker T. Shout out to Pope, who became a member. Welcome to the family, Pope. Welcome. Really good to have you here. Trucker T Brooklyn gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Trucker T. That's very, very, that's amazing. And I'm glad that we're growing this community together. Thank you for that contribution. Shout out to Trucker T with the 5, says Trump is back. Get your popcorn ready. Is he? How did y'all think the debate went? I watched it, but like I was cooking at the same time. I was cooking dinner, I think. It was pretty late night that night, but let me know how y'all thought that the debate went. Thank you, Trucker T. Shout out to King Brown with the 10, says, thanks for your hard work, AV. Thank you, King Brown. Really appreciate you. Love seeing your comments in the chatter hood. Really appreciate that. Thank you, King Brown. Shout out to Mimi with the 2. She says, flood the chat with hearts to support our little sis. Thank you. That was really sweet of you, Mimi. I remember when that happened, and there's a bunch of green hearts in the chat. Thank you, Mimi. Shout out to Sally Sunshine with the 10. And look, Sally's dog has I did these crimes. Oh my God, that's amazing. Y'all see it? Sally's icon has the dog wearing the I did these crimes bandana. Oh my gosh, somebody else sent me their dog picture of I did these crimes this morning too. I don't know if it's the same dogs, but wow, man. Like, it's just so great to see the power and impact of this community. And that's why I care about it so much. You know, it's look at this. Look at the impact. A dog is wearing that. That's so fun. Thank you, Sally. Sally says, thank you for all your hard work. I appreciate all you do and you are doing. I love the shirts and dog bandana. Perfect for my baby girl. She looks amazing. And I'm glad you guys like the stuff. Thank you, Sally. Shout out to Angie with the 5, says, send AV money through Cash App from now on since YouTube is on some BS. Look at Angie. Angie, that's so funny. You're saying that, and you left a super chat. That is hilarious. Thank you so much, Angie. I appreciate you, sis. Shout out to Sean with the 5, says Whitaker and Love are both scatterbrains, not focused and too emotional. Yeah, I mean, after we're watching them try to get organized, we see that there's a lot of disorganization. Thank you, Sean. Shout out to Tease T with the 50. Thank you so much. Tease T says, thank you to whoever gifted me a membership this morning. Hope this helps you recover from this morning, AV. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Tease T. And, you know, it's not a big blow or anything, but it's just, you know, I really care about you guys and, you know, the folks that donated on that stream. You know, I feel terrible about that. And it's really nobody's fault, you know, like, it's just being new to this space. You know, I think it's important for everybody to kind of understand how it works and how it operates. And if that was a failure on our end for not being more clear about how moderators work, then, you know, we own that, you know. But thank you so much, Tease T. Really appreciate you. Shout out to Marie B with the 5. She sends a super sticker. I appreciate you, Marie. Thank you, thank you. Shout out to Nurse O with the 5. She says, I had no idea that flagging a comment was held against the channel, which is actually unreasonable. If someone is spewing ignorance, just block them. Yeah. And that's what the moderators are here to do. You know, like, when that happens, they will do it. They have the ability to do it. I don't talk about that a lot, but that's how it works. And yeah, even the report button or the flag button, it's somewhere, but it sometimes people can click that by accident. You know, it's very easy to do, you know, so that's another thing in fairness. But thank you so much, Nurse. Oh, shout out to Marie B with the 5. She says, thank you for everything, AV. Thank you, Marie B, for choosing to watch the trial here. Shout out to the International Quiet Storm with the 20. He says, I don't tolerate any foolishness. I will remove you. And that's right. This is probably one of my longest running moderators, the International Quiet Storm. He does not play in the chat. When he sees people getting crazy, he will warn you. He will let you know you're on thin ice. It actually, in fact, if you don't mind, the International Quiet Storm, I actually had this conversation with him a few days ago. We just talked about putting together guidelines for the chat. Literally just talked about this a few days ago. So it's been on my mind. I just haven't had time to sit down and announce it yet. You know, so thank you so much, the International Quiet Storm. And this is an example of a mod, and he will let, you know, he mods for a lot of channels. That's what he does. So thank you so much. And he's absolutely right. We do not tolerate that. You know, sometimes we give you some rope to have some fun. But if we see people getting a little crazy, this is an example of someone that will clip you. Sometimes I clip people, you know. So it happens. It happens. Thank you so much. Shout out to Pope, who gifted 10 memberships. Pope, thank you. Pope number 1 became a member, And then Pope gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much for doing that. And that's just growing the community and getting more people over here, giving more people an opportunity to chat as well and get access to specific content. You know, the reason why there's also been a holdup is because, you know, one of the meetings that I have with my team is to revamp the membership program. If you're a member, we want to give you more stuff, right? So maybe it is a live stream Q&A where it's just an hour and you're just talking to me. You can ask me anything you want, right? And that's only going to be members only, right? And that's just going to be dedicated for you. It could be behind the scenes content. You know, we started with the polls, but we want to give you guys more for being members. So thank you so much, Pope. Really appreciate you. Shout out to Siri with the 2. No comment, no question, pure love of the game. Thank you. Shout out to Mimi with the 2. She says, I ordered my What You Mean hat. Keep the merch coming. Yes. So that's also on my list tonight, is to put the Moontung stuff up so that way you guys have it. The votes are all close. So we might just put up all 3 shirts. And then, you know, we do want to get those up soon because fall is coming. Fall is definitely coming. And we want to make sure that we start moving on to, hoodies for the holidays. Since we're going to be here for a while, right? Miss Love, if we have to wait for her, we're going to be here for months. So we've got a ton of time to keep building out the merch store. We're calling it the Trial Watch Store. Thank you so much, Mimi. I know you're going to love it when it comes in. Come into my Cash App crew. I'm trying to see where I stopped earlier. Shout out to Liz with the 1. She says, at least they removed half of your video for the day and not both. Yes, that is the bright side of things, right? So thank you so much, Liz. Shout out to Liz again with the $1. She says, now she wants to impeach before the witness speaks. Yes, I think she has learned her lesson and they are starting to definitely think about how these things are coming in, right? They're also preparing for people going rogue like a Moontung or like a Woody, right? So we're seeing that as well. All right, I've got some emails from you guys. Shout out to Roger with the 20. No comment, no question. Pure love of the game. Appreciate you, Roger. Shout out to Liz with another $1. She says, need another shirt. 99 problems and RICO ain't one. That's a good idea, Liz. Thank you for that one. Shout out to Drew Beats with the 6. Says crazy stuff today. Love you no matter what. Thank you so much, Drew Beats. Really appreciate you. And then shout out to Michelle. She is choosing to send on PayPal. She says, send it to PayPal. Venmo is the safest to send. AB7. Thank you so much, Michelle. Really appreciate you. Okay, that catches me up with our Cash App Venmo squad. All of the people over there. And then I think I have one more here from Sally with the 10. Sally says, baby girl was very impressed. Hope this helps with this morning's loss. Thank you so much, Sally. I appreciate you. And of course, every penny helps, right? And again, it's not like we're asking, but honestly, for me, like I appreciate that you guys appreciate the work. It helps me fund this small media company, right? That's how we fund it. It's through you guys, right? And through YouTube. We work really hard. But like, you know, when you are supporting me, you're supporting the people that work for me too, you know? So it's a beautiful thing. And I really enjoy working for myself. So thank you so much, Sally. I hope she likes it. And Luna's is coming this week. So we might have to do a collage of all of y'all with your merch. Like that would look amazing. I think that'd be a fun idea for the videos too. Thanks again, Sally. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to be working a little bit tonight and getting us ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. The jury should be back in the courthouse and we're going to get ready to do what we need to do, you know, so it's going to be amazing. And right before I go, I see one that just came in. Shout out to the International Quiet Storm, who has been a member for 17 months. In fact, he was the very first member I've ever had on this channel. And he's still rocking with me. Thank you so much. He says, can you please upgrade my wrench to managing moderator? You have a lot of new moderators and they need to be regulated too. Yes, I will do that now. Hang on. Actually, I think I need to do it in the back end. Yeah, I don't want to mess it up here because it's like remove a standard moderator. But then I would have to, let me do it on the back end, International Quiet Storm, because I don't want to mess up anything on this side. You know how like you see a car, you're like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Like, hold on, hold on. Let me read the instruction manual. But yes, I will take care of this tonight, International Quiet Storm. That being said, we will be back tomorrow morning around 9:30-ish to 10, just so we can get some more TiVo time and see what's going to happen in the courthouse if the jury comes back, because allegedly one of them was sick, and honestly, they were only there for about an hour of trial time today, an hour or two, so not a lot of time. So we still have quite a bit to watch tomorrow morning. I know they had some more witnesses lined up as well. So I will see you guys in the morning. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.